3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome in. I am Mike Ureta, and this is the Ironman Show. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Hey, in the chat, don't forget to let us know, where are you listening or viewing this podcast / vlog from? Where? What city? What state? What country are you streaming this from? We had people from Australia, London, the UK, all over the United States and afar. And man, we have an amazing show tonight. I am so excited to share with you all someone who is very important to my childhood youth. Yes, that's right. I have a fellow acorn. And you're wondering, what the hell is an acorn? Well, I'll tell you what an acorn is. It was my mascot from when I went to high school. We're called the Live Oak Acorns, the mighty, mighty oaks, because a little tiny seed, that acorn turns into a giant, amazing oak tree as we graduate high school. It was a pretty cool theme. You know, you go from freshman, junior, sophomore, junior, and to a senior. So it was pretty cool. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to an amazing man who conquered something amazing, which I'm going to let him share this with you. He conquered the top of it. I'm going to leave it at that. And not only that, he's coming to us live recorded. It's a live recording all the way from down under, not that far, but South America, Costa Rica, Mark Washburn. Welcome, sir.
Hey, thank you very much. That's a great introduction. Yeah. Hey, everybody. It's Mark Washburn from Costa Rica. At one time from Morgan Hill. But,
from Morgan Hill. And I'm going to open my drink now. There we go.
You got it?
Yes, I got it. It's a little wet and slippery. That's what she said. Okay. You know what kind of podcast this is going to be.
Fair enough.
All right, cheers.
I got the beer flowing.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Clink.
Boom.
All right. All right. So, so you're living currently in Costa Rica, and we've been friends for quite some time now. And we reconnected at a high school reunion. I was helping set up and put together. Little backstory for those of you that are tuning in. I have been a committee organizer for my high school reunion for, oh geez, how many of them now? Oh, 5. 5 reunions. So the 5th one's coming up, technically. Did I add that right? I may have overstepped it. Yeah, I think this is the 5th one. I've done 4 now. So it's been pretty amazing. I actually helped with the first one, because I was just coming back from living in Oahu. I was in the Marine Corps. So matter of fact, the weekend I came back, moved from the mainland, or from Hawaii, Oahu, to the mainland. I missed it the weekend before they had the reunion, so I had to wait another 5 years before the next one. So it was all good, though. So tell us about, so we reconnected. I've been watching some of your posts. We have a mutual friend. Let's do a shout out to Rowdy Pipkin. Hey, what's up, Rowdy? You're missing out. We sent you an invite, so jump in on the Zoom if you can. So he does a lot of mountain biking and a lot of athletics. Him and I both got a lab at the same time. He got that blonde one, and I got the black one. And so we kind of watched each other's dogs through social media grow and learn amazing things. And then, I've been seeing a bunch of your posts, and I reached out to Mark about a few weeks ago. He conquered an amazing mountain. I want you to tell your story. What led up to it, during it, when you reached the peak, and then afterwards. So give us a backstory.
Thanks, Michael. No, it's mountain climbing has been kind of a passion I've had for many, many years. I'd like to say it started with El Toro, Morgan Hill, but that's not true. But certainly as a kid, it's a kind of insider. Right. and kind of staggered down, I believe is how it all went. Yeah, but as a kid, I would climb mountains all around the property, Uvis Road, out where Rowdy lived at one time. And kind of abandoned it, got into business. And when I hit about 40, I'm going to say I retired because that's bullshit, but I kind of retired. And so I needed something to do. So I just took up the mountain climbing in a big way. And I just went after mountains. And I've done a number of different mountains, but this particular mountain, it's a volcano, actually. It's one I had tried about 3 years ago. And this is about 22,800 feet. I've done Aconcagua, which is 22,000.
2,800 feet.
Yeah, give or take a few.
Jeez.
It's the tallest volcano in the world. So a couple of years ago, I couldn't find anybody to go with me, and then I finally found somebody on the internet, somebody from Germany.
Dude, I didn't know you were gone.
Yeah. Well, I would have invited you if I'd known you climb mountains.
Dude,
and,
I freaking did the Ironman race. You see that up there?
Dude, that's pretty badass. I have to say, Ironman's.
See, that's Ironman little grapevine. That was the grapevine Ironman I did.
Dude, that's badass. I couldn't do an Ironman. There's no way I could do an Ironman. So it says something about you, Michael. It really does. And that's for the elite. But yeah, because climbing a mountain is just. Can we swear on this? So we can say whatever we want, right?
Well, this is going to be on YouTube. You can swear a little bit, but if we do too much, then I can't get monetized.
Yeah. Okay.
No sponsor.
So it's climbing's just you just go up. I mean, it's a volcano's everything you think it is. It's a volcano. There's no crevasses on these things. Like Rainier, when I've climbed Rainier, you have to be tied in with your other climbers, and you have to understand how to get somebody out of a crevasse if they fall in the crevasse. But a volcano is pretty straightforward. It's just high as hell, and it's painful. But I went a couple of years ago, and when I got to high camp, my German partner didn't show up. I went early to save us a space up there because there's a container up there. So the next morning, I woke up at 3 a.m. and decided to go by myself, and I got up to about 20,200 feet, and I wussed out. I wasn't comfortable. It started getting cold. Things started turning to ice. I didn't have my crampons. So I came back down, and man, it ate at me for 3 years. And so I decided to go back up, and then I got my business partner to go with me. He's a business partner of one of my companies. Nice. And my wife's brother. And shout out to Juan Valverde and Luis Carlos.
Nice.
Dominguez. Yeah. So it was hard. These guys had never did anything like this, and I thought I can, be their guide and climb the mountain, and it was too much for me. We made it up to the top, to the crater, but it knocked the hell out of me. In fact, you and I were supposed to connect when I got back. That's right. Yeah, and I went through. I got right back into training because I want to do another mountain, and then I ended up in bed for about 4 days. I was beat. So how this? What's that?
Exhausted.
Yeah, I think I was pretty exhausted. I'm 61 years old, so I'm not young, and there's probably a lot of good arguments for me not doing something like this, but good luck convincing me of that. But it's one of those mountains where
you sound like me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're blessed with a body that still is together,
yes,
then I think you got to take advantage of that, because it's not going to be forever, obviously.
Exactly. I preach, not like preach, but I preach a body in motion stays in motion. And if you continue to take care of your body will take care of you into old age. And I was just watching a video, or someone was telling me recently, if you continuously work out, lift heavy weights continuously all the time, your body's going to be adapted to doing that still into your 70s and 80s. So keep working out, keep lifting heavy, everyone. Keep your body moving. Don't become muscle atrophy.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. And I think also, as we get older, our brain, like I mentioned earlier, when I was 40, everything was kind of running well, and I basically checked out of business. and I stopped using my brain in terms of business. And then the shit hit the fan at my company, and I had to get back into the business world around at about 48. And man, I can tell you the difference between 40 and 48, not using my brain, for business. It took me a good 4 years to get back to where I was. So I think your brain's the same way. Is when you stop using it, is people that want to hit retirement and do nothing. Boy, I don't know if that's a kiss of death or not, but certainly I'm not in their shoes, and I don't know what kind of job they had. And I'm sure that retirement has its positives, but man, I think for me, my brain, I'll be using it until I'm gone. I really do. I think I'll stay in the business just to exercise it, because I think
I mean, you've got to, whether you're reading or doing a podcast or just, you'd probably do really well creating a podcast from there. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, just, reading books and just staying active and being involved. That's why there's a lot of older people that do volunteering, because it keeps them busy, holds them accountable. And yeah, so that's what I believe in.
Right. So anyway, back to this mountain. So we flew into Chile. So Santiago is the capital of Chile. And from Costa Rica, that's probably, I don't know, 8-hour flight. And then we rented a truck, and there's 3 of us. So we rented a truck and we drove about 8 hours north towards the Peruvian border, kind of close to there. It's a little desert called Atacama. I don't know if you guys remember, about 10 years ago in Chile, remember there was a mining accident where all those miners were caught underground, and then they drilled a hole and then plucked them out one by one, and everybody survived.
I remember that.
This is exactly where this is. The Atacama. Copiapó was the city, and that's exactly where we were. And in terms of the last city before you go out to the forsaken desert where there's nothing. I mean,
oh my gosh,
it's like looking at Earth a million years ago. It's just all these volcanoes, hundreds of volcanoes, and
wow.
And you're just looking at this thing and wow.
In Costa Rica.
Get our.
It's in Costa Rica. Oh, Chile. Chile. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Sorry about
that. So we're in the city of Copiapó. We load up the car with the food and everything, and we've got all of our equipment, and then we go from there and we drive. So the thing about climbing these mountains, you have to acclimate. So acclimating basically is, you see these guys on Everest, you figure, well, why does it take them to go, why does it take 2.5 months, 3 months to climb, 29,000 feet? Well, a lot of that's acclimating. You have to get your body used to the high altitudes. So we spent the first 4, 5, 6, 7 days acclimating. So we climbed different volcanoes, 14,000, then we went to 16,000, then to 19,000 feet. And then when I saw where everybody's acclimated to the point, then we went to base camp. So you can actually drive the truck to base camp. Yeah, that might be cheating a little bit, but to hell with it. So that means you can bring all the food that you want. You don't have to have like rations or anything like that. So we drive the car and all our shit to base camp, and we set up our tents, and then we're acclimating. And then next day we did a walk to Camp 1. And then we came back down, took a day rest. And then we finally went for what they call the summit push. We went to Camp 1, spent the night, and then 3 a.m, we took off towards the summit. And we should have made it in 8 hours, and we made it to the top in about 10 hours. So it was very slow. We found somebody on the way. It was an older guy that he was struggling. So we kind of worked as a group to help get this guy up to the summit, or the crater. But we were gassed, and it snowed the day before, so we were up to our knees. So we're post holing. It's when your legs are disappearing into the snow, and it truly kicked our ass. It kicked our ass, and then we stayed up there for about an hour, and my guys, they went off and did their own thing. Kind of, when both of them they had lost a very good friend a few years earlier, and they didn't even know it. They both did their own thing. One was on the left, one was on the right, and I'm just kind of sitting there. And they were giving this climb to their friends that they had lost, and it was a beautiful moment. It was absolutely a beautiful moment. And then we had to come down this thing. and coming down took us probably another 5-6 hours, and that was rough. Coming down was very, very rough, and both guys were struggling coming down, so we had to work as a team to get them back down, and we made it back. So it was I would say it was a successful trip. So it was I'm trying to figure out what to do next, because I came back, and like I said, and this one beat the hell out of me so much that I'm like, maybe I'll wait for a while to figure out what's next on my list.
Well, I mean,
I'm kind of
the fact that you were able to climb that mountain and come back down and survive it, I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. I mean, I take my hat off to you, man. Woo. That's amazing. Those pictures that you took coming down and going up, the ones that you posted on Facebook, man, that's what caught my eye. I'm like, oh my God, look at him. He's like, it's one of those Mount Everest moments. So,
yeah, it sounds like it is, but the difference between 23,000 and 29,000, which is Everest, it's a different world up there. It's once you get past 25,000, then it's oxygen, it's death zone, and there's a whole bunch of other things that come in with that. And but the worst part, yeah, there's a lot of dead bodies. But the worst part about the Everest, the worst part, is you're in a goddamn tent for 2.5 months. We were in a tent for 10 days, and maybe it's because my age, but I got to the point where I didn't want to get back into the tent. It got old for me very, very quickly. And these guys that are in a tent for 2.5 months, I don't know how they do it. I really don't, because it's miserable.
Welcome in, everyone. Wow. So, hey, everyone, those of you that are just joining us, thank you for joining us. This is the Iron Man Mike Show. I'm your host, Mike Ureta, and my guest today is Mark Washburn. He climbed the tallest volcano in the world, which is in Chile, 22,800 feet, and he's telling us his story. So go ahead and continue, sir.
Yeah, so that's kind of the story on Ojos. And the reason I found out about Ojos is I a couple years earlier, I did another one called Aconcagua, which is outside the Himalayas. It's the tallest mountain.
Wow.
But the difference is I think it's 22,905 feet. So it's just a little bit taller. But it's more of a production, because then you need the mules, and you have you don't need guides, but I used a guide on that one because the logistics behind it takes 3 days to get the base camp. And it's, it takes a long time. And it's not like you can buy a bunch of groceries and just take it up there, because everything's gets sent up on mules. But that was really one of the real first mountains that I climbed that I was like, I can do this, and it was hard. It was certainly hard. And then after I did the Aconcagua, then it was, man, I was climbing Rainier. I climbed Shasta, and any of you Californians, I guess you're on the East Coast, but guys,
no, I know both those mountains. I've been on Shasta.
Shasta's a great,
never climbed.
If you want to climb a mountain, you want a great mountain to climb, Shasta's a great beginner mountain, because there's no crevasses, and it's you can make it to the top in one day. But it's a great place to say, is this something that I'll like? And you'll find out on Shasta.
So I've done Mount Diablo.
Oh, no kidding.
Mount Diablo, I actually did it on a bike. Non-stop, did not stop. It's 11 miles straight up one way.
Dude, you're an animal.
Yeah. So that's when I was doing my Ironman training. That's
how many years ago was that?
That was 2016 when I did that my last Ironman. I've been injured. I've got 2 pulled hamstrings, and then I had to get surgery done on my shoulder. Matter of fact, I went down on a bike right before, like a month before my race. I didn't know it at the time, but I tore my labrum, and I went ahead and did the Ironman race anyway. I could barely swim. I had to do the entire race side stroke. Yeah, that sucked. So so I had to do the side stroke because I'm like, what is wrong with my shoulder? I can't like, when you swim, you're like lifting your arms up, and I could not swim. So shortly right after the I went to physical therapy, didn't know it was torn, but I did a year of physical therapy and it wasn't getting well. And finally, we went and had x-rays and, oh, you got a torn labrum. So they had to do complete repair. And I was in a sling for like 9 months. It was horrible. And then I did 2.5 years of physical therapy just to get my muscle atrophy to unmuscle atrophy. That sucked.
Where are you today on your shoulder?
Shoulder's great now, but now I have two torn sprained hamstrings, and I'm actually currently in active therapy, physical therapy. Hey, this is a great segue to our sponsor, physical therapy in Mooresville, North Carolina. That's right. That's FYZICAL, physical therapy and balance center. Who is physical therapy? Well, let me tell you the difference. Physical therapy balance center is actively changing the healthcare landscape by providing patients with a higher level of one-to-one priority and innovative patient care in the areas of balancing and vestibular therapy and fall prevention. Our highly skilled therapy providers are certified in orthopedic, concussion, neurological, and post-surgical rehabilitation. Hey, don't forget to see Dr. Lexi Haggard at Mooresville Clinic in Mooresville, North Carolina, and say hello to Tamara. She is the front desk. She is amazing. Reception. She'll take care of all your needs. And once again, that's physical. That's FYZICAL Therapy and Balance Center in Mooresville, North Carolina. See them. And that's our commercial. Thank you, guys. That's our sponsor for tonight. All right. So, yeah, going to physical therapy is huge, is important for recovery and for any injuries or challenges that occur.
Good. And your time to recovery depends on your physical therapy. You know, you look at these football players.
2 years, man.
Yeah. Well, man, if you pull a hammy, you know, if you watch a football player, whoever your team is, and they said, yeah, he pulled a hamstring, he'll be back in a couple of weeks. There's no way. Hamstrings are, you injure a hamstring, that's a long process.
Yep.
You injured 2 hamstrings?
It's the surgery. So I did learn something about this is the first time I ever pulled a hamstring muscle. Let me tell you that if you can see my fingers separating like this, pretend like that's your fibers, that's your hamstring. A pull takes longer to repair itself than a complete tear. A tear is simpler. They sew it back together and then you wait and then you start doing physical therapy and then it naturally blends back together. But when it fibrouses out like this, like pulls, stretches like that and becomes all these gaps, it's a partial tear, but it didn't tear completely. That is a longer process I discovered, and that's what I had in both my hamstrings. That's why it's taken 2 years to heal.
Do you warm up before you work out?
I do.
Do you?
I do.
I don't. I go out in the street and I just run. I don't. You know, my son's like, dude, you gotta stretch. You gotta do this. You gotta that. And I was, I don't know.
So there's a difference between warm up and stretching and warm up just to warm your muscles up. So I've discovered if you stretch before you do an activity cold, you can hurt yourself. But if you warm up with gentle type of calisthenics, that's really good for you, for your warm up before you start an event.
Yeah, I think that's good preventive medicine. Ooh, what's that noise? I believe that's one of these.
Oh, hey, there you go. Round 2. So, man, that's pretty good, man. You're looking really fit. That's good to know that you are staying fit. And what do you tell all of our listeners what'd you say, 60, 61?
Man, really at 61, you've got to hit your 50s pretty hard, man, because I hit my 50s and I was feeling good. Everything was great. I was climbing mountains. I was doing everything. Man, I hit 60 and it was like a wall. I hit a wall. And and yeah, it was hard. 60 was very hard. 50s, truly, I breezed through it. I did some of my best climbs probably in my 50s. Okay. And then at 60, just everything hurts. The motivation to get out there, it's been challenging for me. And I'm doing it, but it's nowhere near as easy as it was in the 50s, of course, the 40s. You know, in the 30s, you have distractions. So maybe you don't do it for other reasons. but you don't have a whole lot of distractions at 16.
Your wife telling you to do this, do that.
Right. Exactly. So, man, it's like, if you
So
think
you're
you're going to go into go ahead.
so you're married? Your wife's there with you?
She's not here now, and she's a yogi, and so she just brought down a whole group of clients from the States, and she takes them out to these beaches, not resorts. They don't go to resorts. They go to the homegrown type of Swiss Family Robinson places,
Oh, nice.
and they do. I think they're doing ayahuasca actually on this venture. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to get you demonetized or whatever, but
What that means, we're good.
so yeah, so they do different events out there, and so she gets back on Saturday. But this is my second marriage. I was married once before, and that's where I had the 3 kids.
Okay.
And I have 3 kids, but my kids now, they're 30. Oh, they're gonna kill me. 31, 29, and 28.
All right. I've got 2 of my kids are close to your age, your kid's age. I've got my 35-year-old, 2 kids, so I got 2 grandbabies. And then I have my 29-year-old, which she's actually going to be 30 this June. She probably is going to be mad at me for saying that, but and then I have an 18-year-old, a 17-year-old. That's my youngest, and then my wife, who has well, unfortunately, we're getting a divorce, but I legally still call her my wife because we're still legally married until about another 2.5, 3 weeks. But we have a respectful relationship, friendship still. But she has 2 amazing boys that I've been calling my sons for the last 10, 11 years now. So, but yeah, they're 20. Oh, let's see. Justin is 30. Oh, wow. He's also, geez, 35. No, May. He's going to be 35. There we go. So he's 34. He'll be 35 coming up next month. Yeah. And then, of course, I have oh no, his birthday just passed. Jared's birthday is what's coming up, and Jared is going to be 31. So there we go. So 6 kids in my life. And then I have
That's a lot of kids.
This is the cool story. My first wife, she got remarried and she had a kid, and I've known her kid since she was growing up, and now her kid is living with my daughter. So she's been in my life now for the last 5, 6 years now. So I've known this young lady who's about to graduate from high school. So I kind of took her in a little bit. I'm not raising her full time, but yeah, definitely got an influence in her life, her young life. So 7 technically.
So you're just a nice guy. I mean, you're just a nice guy. You stand up and yeah. I mean, I heard the way I've listened to some of the other podcasts.
Takes a village, right?
Yeah. So I got 3 kids, and I moved to Costa Rica maybe 32 years ago, right out of college. Came down here.
Wow.
And I came down here with my wrestling teammate, Mark Garrison. Yeah, I wrestled Live Oak, and
so did I, Mr. Torres.
Torres was the assistant coach. Yeah, he was assistant coach.
So when I got there at 82, 83 is when I started wrestling. You were on the wrestling team. No, you were gone. So I was on the wrestling team with Tim Davies, and
Tim Davies was there. And
Orndorff. Yep. I wrestled with Tim Davies, Ray Garza. Yeah. Flanagan. Yes. Flanagan was there.
He was a badass.
Yeah. And then, of course, and then his little brother I wrestled with as well, Michael Flanagan.
Michael, yeah.
Yeah. So,
and then Louis
Van, Van something.
What a cool cat that guy was.
Oh, Louis was awesome. Louis was awesome. And then of course Michael Stevenson was on the wrestling team for a minute. He ended up becoming an NFL football player for the Raiders and another team. I forgot the other team. But yeah, he was a badass.
I wasn't great, but this is kind of who I am as a person. I would just go out and do things. So I went to San Jose State. So I wrestled under TJ Kerr, and I had no business being there. I really did, but TJ needed warm bodies
I
because the
forgot.
way he would.
I forgot Ray Garza too. Remember Ray Garza?
You mentioned Ray Garza. You mentioned him.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Ray Garza is really cool guy. So TJ, I went to TJ, and there was like in my weight class, it was like 138, 142. There was all state champions from somewhere,
right?
And I was there, and I think it was one day that TJ says, "Dude, you should go somewhere. You should go to West Valley College." And it was actually great advice. And so I went over to West Valley, wrestled there for a while. Then I finished up at Chico State and wrestled under Armin Brett. But I was never great, and I wasn't really committed. But I was just one of those guys. I figured that's what I'm going to do, and so that's what I did. But for sure, and you can probably attest to this, is when you learn to push your body to those levels at a young age, that carries over when you get older. And you realize that when you're climbing a mountain, for example, that when you're at the end of your abilities, you're able to dig deep. You're spent. And then all of a sudden you go, I know I can do more. Exactly. And I think we've learned that from different sports, whether it's football, wrestling, or gymnastics, whatever. Yeah.
Heck yeah. And also even with the Marine Corps, when I was in boot camp, man, when I went through boot camp, I remember like, this ain't shit, man. Marine Corps boot camp? Are you kidding me? A lot of people say it's the hardest thing they ever did. And when I did, I was like, dude, boot camp was so easy for me. You know why? Because they're wrestling at Live Oak High School. And I wrestled it in college too.
Where'd you wrestle?
I went to, I was going to go to San Jose State, but they closed the program the year I was graduating. I was so pissed. So I ended up wrestling at Skyline Junior College in San Bruno. I made varsity.
Oh, good for you.
So I was pretty excited about that. But yeah.
Well, Ken Bryson took over the program because TJ Kerr went down to Bakersfield. And then Ken Bryson, who he hated TJ Kerr. Yeah, he was from Leland. He went to Leland High.
Remember both those names. Remember the Fu brothers?
Oh, dude. Yeah, I wrestled the Fu brothers.
I wrestled the youngest one, Nathan. Yeah.
I wrestled the older one.
I'm the only one he never pinned. He beat me by 2 points. I almost beat him, and he got out by the end of the bell. He ended up winning by 2 points. I was pissed. But yeah, I'm the only one he never pinned.
They were good. Kim Bryson wasn't. He wasn't great in high school. I think he went to state maybe, and he was real skinny. He was like 118s maybe.
I remember that guy.
He turned out to be a badass. At Pacheco, I remember seeing him at the Doc Peterson tournament, and he went there and cleaned up, absolutely cleaned up. And that's a pretty tough tournament. And he turned out from this little. I think he was wrestling at the end 170s. So anyway, so it's like
what I totally forgot you wrestled, man. What a small world, man. We had a lot in common now.
Yeah. I was I absolutely loved wrestling.
Yeah, after you left, the guys that were doing really good were Matt Wright. He went to state. David Nicholson, Brian Cerna. Who else? I know John Leatherman. He was on the team. Mike Leatherman. I was on the team with him. Oh geez, I'm missing a bunch of Dean. I said Dean Evans. Yeah. There's so many guys. Gosh, they're all going to be mad at me now. I'm forgetting everyone's name. But there's so many amazing guys that were on the team. Matter of fact, one of the guys, he has a gym in, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. Big guy, big shoulders. He's got a gym in Morgan Hill. He wrestled on the team. He's going to be mad at me. I'm forgetting everyone's names. I'm getting old, senile. Blame it on that.
Right.
But yeah, if I pull up my phone, my phone's all being used. But man, it's just so cool to talk story about old times. Wrestling was such a cool sport. But back to the whole reason why you brought it up, I 100% agree with you. And I preach that on these podcasts. I talk about fitness. I talk about nutrition. And if you have a base with your youth, like you brought up, 100% agree with you. I mean, you have that base and you're able to build on it in life when you're older. Back to what I opened with earlier, my grandfather used to tell me, you take care of your body will take care of you in old age. And, your body's like a temple, put nothing but good things in it. And I always used to do that. So.
Yeah, my dad's 91. He moved out of Morgan Hill because he couldn't take California any longer. He couldn't take the liberal movement that's going on there. So he went extreme. He went to Idaho, which is pretty extreme. But he's 91, and the thing about the 90s is if you can make it into the 90s, the odds are you're not going to make it out of the 90s. And it's I mean it is what it is. But I'm going to go see him next month, and we're going to go ride bikes. So he's still pretty active guy. He's still a pretty active guy. And it was a lot that when he was younger, we would go hiking together and we would do things. He was always like active. And so I think that was also a pretty good model for me to follow. And just it's so easy as you get older, it's so easy not to be active, and it's like sitting down, just, watching TV or YouTube or whatever.
Yep.
But getting out there, I think it really is, makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. The first thing I did when I moved from California, I got out of California. I'm currently in North Carolina. The first thing I did is I got my concealed carry permit. That's so nice.
I've heard that story over and over and over. It's like, I have a friend of, yeah.
Go ahead.
I had a good friend that moved to Idaho, and and I'm thinking, man, what's the crime rate there?
John Cost, John and Kelly Cost.
No, I think I know them, but no, it was like it's a good friend from business, and he was just tired of California. He got his permit. And he goes, people don't. I go, what about people steal cars? They go, people don't steal cars up here. I go, why? Because we'll shoot them. but dead serious, we'll shoot them. And usually the cops will say, well, you stole a car. It is what it is. So yeah.
Oh, you can.
I don't know what's gonna
stealing cars there.
What's that?
You can shoot people for stealing cars there.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. But I think the attitude there is, if you know that everybody's carrying, you're going to think twice about stealing a car, right? Versus you're in California. Man, I'm looking at Chicago. I don't know if you're watching the news over the last couple of days. They got a new mayor in there.
I don't even watch the news. Why? What happened?
Oh, it's mayhem. It's absolute mayhem. All the stores are all closing. People are, they're breaking into the stores, stealing everything, and there's no control in Chicago. And man, I don't know where that's going to go. And I don't think California is going to get to that point. But I was in San Francisco a few months ago, and it's not very pretty. I mean, that's always been my favorite city. And if I don't go back there anytime soon, I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, I'll be going there to visit. I got kids there and grandkids, so they want me to come back and leave North Carolina. But man, I'm on the fence. I'm looking at maybe buying a house, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do because plus I have my other child, my junior in high school here, and yeah, so it's just like taking care of her until her senior year, and then she's going to go away to college, and then I can go wherever I want at that point. So who knows? I might be in Costa Rica one day, maybe a neighbor.
Well, we all know that you take care of the kids until the grave, right? I mean, it's like until you're dead. I mean, you think like, oh, okay, they're out of college, I'm done. Oh. Then you become a marriage counselor. It's like, and then you're watching kids, and then it's like, and you love every bit of it. Okay. But it's like, it's like, I'm not a grandfather. None of my kids have kids, and I was okay with that for a while. Now I think I want kids. I think it'd be kind of cool if my kids had kids.
Right. Well, I am excited. I'm pretty stoked about being a grandpa. And I unfortunately I'm watching them all grow up in videos and still photography, which it's better than nothing, but can't wait until I can squeeze them again or squeeze them.
Are they all in California?
Yes. My oldest daughter lives in San Jose, California.
Get your ass back in California. California, other than the politics, it's the best state by far. I mean, it truly is. You get the best weather. I live in Costa Rica, right? our weather here is known to be pretty amazing weather, but it doesn't come close to California. California's got the best weather. You've got the wine country, you got the mountains, you got the ocean, you got Mexico down in the south. You've got everything.
The
You know,
Tahoe is amazing. I like the fact that I can go surfing in Half Moon Bay, get in the car and drive 3 hours east and be in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and I ski in the same day. Snow skiing and
Yeah.
surfing the same day you could do it. And you could stop in the middle somewhere and stop at some lake and go
rock climbing.
skiing or whatever. You can do any sport you want in between, and you can do all three of those activities in one day if you planned it right.
I don't know if there's another state that can offer everything that California offers. I really don't. Plus, you got the amazing weather. I mean, the weather is. I forget how amazing California weather is until I go back there, and I'm just like, yeah, this is nice. This is really. I like San Diego weather. San Diego's got incredible.
Yeah, San Diego is pretty nice. I've been there multiple times. My stepkids live there. Well, technically, the oldest of my wife's kids, he just got his promotion to gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps. So,
oh, wow.
Congratulations to him. He got that last year, so he's pretty excited about that. And him and his wife ended up going to Japan. So he's stationed there for the next 3 years. So he gets to enjoy being in another country, Japan, for a little bit.
Oh, that's a treat.
Shout out to you, Semper Fi, brother and son.
So when are you doing your next Ironman?
So I was just having this conversation with my physical therapy in Mooresville, North Carolina, Dr. Lexi.
That's right.
So I was just talking to her this morning because I had therapy this morning, and she asked me, I'm like, well, when do you want to do your next Ironman race? And I'm like, well, I have a so every year I run the Marine Corps Marathon. That's kind of my warm up, and I did it in October, and every October. The end of October, early November, the Marine Corps Marathon. And this year it is going to be in late October, early November. And so that's my next full marathon. So, and I know I'm not ready to do a full Ironman because my hamstrings are still healing. So my goal is if I can get through this year, continuous physical therapy, then I'll be ready to start training all next year for the Ironman race.
Unknown caller.
So it takes a full year just to train.
Mine. So before I climb a mountain, it takes me about 8 months. Yeah. And that's not starting from zero. I work out maybe 4 days a week, 3 or 4 when I'm not going after anything, and then when I'm back into training, it's about 5 days a week between running. I do it's not really, I don't do CrossFit anymore, but it's something kind of like a CrossFit. And then I either go rock climbing or hiking on the weekends. So I try to keep as active as I possibly can.
Yes. Yeah. Doing block training. It's basically mixing up your riding, your swimming, your biking. If you're able to mix it all up, that's usually best.
Yeah. The biking is, I can certainly do, but the swimming, man, I would sink like a rock. I can't, because you got swimming in that. That's part of it, the Ironman, right? It's swimming, biking, and running.
Exactly. So you start out with a 2.4-mile swim. You get out of the water after swimming that as fast as you can. You go into the tent, you change and get out of your wetsuit and all your swim gear, and you put on your cycling gear. And you get on your bike, you run out to your bike, helmet, glasses, shoes, cycling pants, everything. And then you get on your bike and you ride a full 112 miles on your 10-speed, your road bike. And then once you finish that, you get off the bike, you park it, and you run back into the same tent, take off all your gear, and then you put on your running gear and you run a full marathon, 26.2 miles. And it takes people between 8 to 17 hours to do the whole thing.
Yeah. And do they cut you off a certain amount of time? It's like, dude, we can't. It's midnight, dude. We got to go home.
You're done. If you're after 17 hours, you're defunct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're disqualified. You're DQ. Yep, they
Yeah.
kick you off the course. I mean, you could be like a minute away and they're like, sorry, man, you're over the time. Can you imagine? That's why you got to train and do it well.
Yeah, yeah. You got a lot to do between now and October's your marathon, and then you're going to do Ironman the following year.
Yeah. So, well, I'll train next year for the following year. So I realistically did the same thing. As long as I'm training, I could probably be ready for it in 8 months. That's what I did last time.
Right. Yeah. Dude,
So
that's
because
three disciplines.
I signed up in September. Was it October or September or October of 2015? And I trained, and then I did the event, and I think it was in August. Wait, hold on. The date's right here. It's on my poster there. I don't see the month. Oh, 7. Yeah, August 30th, 2006. Yeah. So August. Yeah. So it was like 11 months I trained and I did it. And I had a wreck before that, and I didn't work out for the last 3 weeks before the Ironman race. So the last 3 weeks, I didn't even train. I was nursing
you're what?
my injury.
You're what? 56.
56.
So you'll be 58 when you think you do your next Ironman.
Yep.
Does that put you in the next category, or is that 60?
Probably. I don't know where the cutoff. Every different race is slightly different. So yeah. I just okay, it's just where I'm at. That's what I'm doing. I signed up. What sucks is the entry fee is like $800 to $1,500 depending on when you sign up.
Woo.
For the end.
Yeah, you have sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll have sponsors on my next race. So
yeah.
My last race I actually had somebody that paid for my my registration fees. So technically that was a sponsor.
Right.
It was
cool.
It was a birthday gift.
Yeah. It's great. So I don't know about you, but one of the reasons I climb mountains is if I don't have a goal out there, if I don't have like in 8 months I'm going to climb Rainier, then I kind of go into coast mode where I'm working out 3 days a week. But when I know I've got that mountain out there, and my wife has a hard time understanding this, she goes, why do you need this goal? I'm glorying, I guess I'm glorying. But when I have that goal, man, then it's like,
you're so focused.
Right. You're focused. And then I'll put something on Facebook because now you got everybody saying, oh, go, man, go. So now you can't you can't step out, right? Because you're stuck because everybody's waiting for you. Yeah. So I try to throw it out there, and that's what keeps me going. And you could do that with, I'm sure, whatever your sport is, whatever you like to do, is just kind of set something out there, say, this is my goal in 6 months to do this.
You have to. It keeps you accountable, and that's what I do with my. You should sign up for my. I have a. It's called Extreme Sport 22 on Facebook, and it's a. You have to be an extreme sport person, so that might be something cool. Just on there, people post motivational things about different races and stuff like that. And I started in 2014. But then I got injured, so I couldn't work. I didn't do anything for several years, but I just started posting again. But I mainly created a new page, my athlete page on Instagram. That's where I post the majority of all my physical fitness my athlete page, basically. But yeah, once you put it on there, man, you got to put that goal out there. I think that's awesome. Matter of fact, Pipkin, he does a lot of stuff. His mountain biking.
Yeah, he's a badass. I mean, he would leave me in the dust. I was, but it was like, he's always been kind of an extreme guy, back in his racing days and whatnot. He's always been an extreme guy, but he's pretty good on his mountain bike. He can crank it up. Yeah, it's been a long time since I went riding with that guy. But yeah, he's a fun guy to hang out with. He bought a new ranch up north, and
I saw that.
I'm definitely something I want to go out and visit him and check out his new digs.
Hey, everyone, thank you for coming in. We got like 30 people here watching on Clapper right now.
Nice.
Yeah, they're all listening to you and your stories. They're sending likes out. Not a lot of people. Hey, guys, put some comments on there. If anybody wants to come up and say hello to Mr. Washburn, come on up, say hello. Come say hi to me and be part of the podcast. I got Mark and Pashka in here, EB, Mario, Tiger. Oh, Tiger, what's up, man? So we got a lot of folks here watching live right now. So what's your next one? Tell everyone what you're going to be trying to accomplish next.
I don't really know.
Speaking of
Him,
putting it out
yeah.
there.
Yeah, no, exactly. I really don't know. I'm kind of in a burnout phase right now, and because this last mountain was being a guide. Man, total respect for the guys out there. Because when you're a guide, you're herding cats, and you're climbing a mountain. So you're doing everything all at the same time. And I thought I could. I've guided up Rainier, and and that's a little. But if you do work with people that have a lot of experience, then you're not really a guy. You're just like that third person, or you're just part of the team. But in this case, when I don't, bringing these guys up that didn't have a lot of experience, it knocked the shit out of me. It really did, to where I'm kind of like trying to figure out what do I want to do next and who do I want to go with. And it'll probably Denali would be, I was in line to do Denali a few years ago, and I had to drop out for personal reasons.
Okay.
I think Denali is a mountain I would definitely go after. It's definitely within my range. I'll probably have to use a guide for that one, but I think I might be okay with that for sure. But Denali's been on my radar for quite a few years, and I think that's probably something I can do. But I'll probably hang out in South America, maybe do a few more climbs down there. And then I don't have an interest on Everest anymore. I got a few friends up there right now, and it just doesn't excite me when you have to wait in line for 2 or 3 hours to get to the summit.
Really?
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah.
That many people are climbing it daily?
Well, it's not so much a daily thing. The thing with Everest, there's a window of opportunity. So you've got the monsoons that come in at a certain time, and usually there's a window. May 10th is kind of like that magical date where all the stars align, so to speak. So everybody says, okay, we're gonna go up May 10th, and you might have at base camp 300 people.
Jeez.
And they're all shooting for May 10th plus or minus 2. So yeah, you can go on YouTube and you can see some of these pictures that people shot when they're at the Hillary step, or they're at that one point where you kind of have to do that last little part, and there might be 100 people from.
I've seen these videos. Yeah, there's a line of people waiting to get to the top. Oh, that's what you're talking about. I was wondering why there was a line.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And they're taking pictures one at a time.
They're doing their thing on the top. I mean, you get to the top, you want to enjoy the moment at the top because you put so much into it, and so I get that. But you've got these countries that are hurting for money, and when you're paying $30,000 for a permit to go up there, or $70,000 for everything to go up these mountains, that's pretty good income for some of these countries. So I think they overload the mountain a bit, and I think they're going to make some rule changes somewhere down the road. But there's a lot of people that get to the point. I don't know when you climb, when you're moving, you stay warm, but the moment you stop moving, you get cold pretty quick. And when you're sitting there waiting for all these people to move, you start getting very cold, and that's where you start getting frostbite. You start having issues.
Right.
So I think I think Everest is out of my my list of things, but I don't know. I'll see what I can do. I'm just enjoying life. I truly am enjoying life, and yeah, I just take one day at a time. I think what you mentioned in some of your previous podcasts is live in the moment.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to send me that one picture of you when you're at the top. So when I post this video, I could put you up on the top. I don't know what you're doing, but you up at the top. I need that photo. and we can post that for you for your podcast today.
Matt, sure, that'd be great. I'll send you all the different pictures that I have. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that. And send me your links to your different pages. I'd like to follow you. I really would.
Absolutely. I'll send it to you on I thought it was on my the email I sent you. Or maybe I used my other email. I thought I used at any rate, I'll respond with that. So tell us real quick about what was your favorite part of you conquering your volcano in Chile? And do you have any stories, any harrowing challenges or something cool that occurred up there? And then plus, what's the spelling of the volcano that the
The
22,000?
spelling, yeah, the spelling is Ojos. It's Ojos, Ojos, like eyes. Del Salado.
OJS.
Yeah, and then space, and then Del DEL, space, and then Salado, SALDO, SALADO, Salado. Like salty eyes. I guess that's how you would translate it.
Saldo. Nice.
Salado.
Salado.
Salado. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there were some sketchy moments coming down. My business partner was getting altitude sickness,
Mm.
and he collapsed. So he's a strong climber. He's a very, very strong climber. But it was a little bit scary for me, so grabbing his pack and carrying it and then getting him down the mountain was it was a bit of a challenge. But it was just, I think it was more exhaustion than anything else, because we were all just absolutely exhausted. But I don't know, it's just all kind of a blur, all the different things that we did. I'm trying to think of something that's pretty funny event. Not a whole lot of fun, not a whole lot of humor up there, because you're pretty much in pain the whole time. I guess a funny story when we got off the mountain. So after we did the summit, we came back down. We were on our feet now for about 15 hours, and we get back to the camp, and I was done with the tent. I didn't want to get in the tent. And so I crawled into the front of the truck, and I turned on the truck, and I hit the heater full blast, because it was probably about 0 degrees, and I just sat in there in the driver's seat, and I put it way back, and I fell asleep. And then my business partner came in on the other side, and we didn't have to tell each other. We were done with that goddamn tent. And so he was on the other side, and he fell asleep. And so the third guy that was with us, Juan, about an hour later, came knocking on the window, and we're in this deep, deep slumber. I mean, really, really deep. And he goes, "Dudes, we're out in the middle of the desert. You're going to burn all the fuel. We won't be able to get home." Because, we're 7 hours from the nearest gas station. We're a long way. We have to, we have extra tanks of gas, and you have to do the whole deal, to get out to this remote location. And I looked at him, and I looked at my business partner, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really give a shit. So I just fell back. I went back to sleep in this truck. So about 11 p.m. finally I got out, and I had to crawl back into. I don't know if you ever slept in a sleeping bag for more than a few days.
Yeah. Marine Corps.
The oils in your body, and all that grime, because you're not taking showers. You're up there for 10 days, no showers at all, and all that grime kind of gets into that sleeping bag, and it's like sticky. It's like it's just like sweaty, gooey, and that's why I say these guys on Everest, they're doing that for 2.5 months.
Jeez.
We did it for 10 days, and it's just, and then there's just like this not a rancid smell. It's not really a rancid smell, but it's the smell of the tent, of like dirty socks and dirty shoes and whatever, and it just, and it accumulates. It doesn't get better. You can open up the doors, you can open up all your window, you can do whatever you want, but it doesn't get any better. It just kind of stagnates inside your tent. So I hit the wall, I think, at about the day 9, I think it was, where I was, that was harder than climbing the mountain. I wanted to get out and climb somewhere, because it was, going back to that tent was, so I like macaroni and cheese, right? You eat macaroni. We grew up on macaroni and cheese, Kraft macaroni and cheese, whatever.
I don't eat it that often anymore, though.
But as a kid, right?
Oh, as a kid, man, we used to eat it probably at least once a week.
Right. So you kind of, and it's like you build a taste for it. It was still to this day, it's one of my favorite. I never eat it, but it's I love macaroni and cheese. And when I go camping or I go hiking or climbing, it's a great meal. You can put hot dogs in there, or sausage in there. You can do different things, and it's got all the calories you need. It's got the cheeses, all that type of stuff. And so I bought like 6 boxes of this shit, and I'm the chef. So it's like, I'm going to cook the food, and both, my business partner's from Venezuela, and then my wife's brother is Costa Rican. So I'm excited about making this macaroni and cheese with sausage, because I make the best in the world. I put real cheese in there and shit like that. And so, so I make this thing, and they couldn't eat it. They couldn't eat it. And you go, what the hell is this? I'm like, dude, this is macaroni and cheese. I don't understand you gringos, man, but this is like garbage food. And so we had to throw out the macaroni and cheese, and yeah.
Sorry, it looks like somebody was. We got a lot of messages coming in here. Hello, I sent my lady. I work your broadcast. All right, wait a minute. What? Black car transportation. I told her about you and all you do. Oh, got it. So we had a sponsor last night, Black Car Limousine Transportation from the airport. So they're in here, and one of the employees, which is a very good friend of mine, Cornbread, she's in here. She's putting some messages in the chat. So, hey, thank you guys so much for being here. This is the Ironman Mike Show, and hey, I have a special guest tonight, Mark Washburn. He conquered a volcano, the tallest volcano in Chile, Oso del Salado. That's it, right?
It's pretty close.
Right.
Ojos del Salado. See, that works. Yeah.
Ojos del Salado. And so he's in here telling his story about his hike, his little day hike, actually 10 days. So, but appreciate you guys being in here. And if Cornbread, if you want to come up and say hello to him and meet him, just raise your hand. We can bring you up and you can come say hello to him. It is that time of the night. So how are we doing with time for you, sir?
I'm good.
Okay. Hey, thank you for the gifts. Appreciate you very much. And looks like she's going to come up and say hello to you, sir. All right. Hey, welcome in, Cornbread. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you guys, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
we
hear me?
can.
Yes.
Okay. How is everyone tonight?
We're doing really good. So he's been sharing his story about climbing the tallest mountain in Chile.
Nice, nice. I bet that was interesting. I love mountains, so climbing mountains would be something very interesting to see. Definitely in Chile.
Yeah. Do you have any? You have a question for our guest, Miss Cornbread?
No, I don't actually. Was it? I guess the question would be: was it hot when he did it? Was it like, did he get altitude sickness? I mean, that would be another question. I mean, that's something.
Yeah, that's actually a good question on the altitude sickness. And as man, you can get altitude sickness at 10,000 feet. And so a lot of it depends on what you ate, and maybe some of your, maybe some DNA. Some people get it, some people don't. But one of the things to try to avoid on altitude sickness is you acclimate. So you take your time like, if you tried to go like in a car from 4,000 feet up to 20,000 feet, you would go unconscious within a few minutes, because your body just couldn't take it. But if you acclimate and slowly you go up like 4,000 feet, take a day of rest, go up another 4,000 feet, maybe come down 2,000, take rest. So you're kind of going up and down a mountain to get a touch of the altitude, and then come back down to rest. So, kind of like the formula they say is you hike high, sleep low. And that works. And if you do it right and you take your time, then you normally can avoid altitude sickness. But one of our guys in the team coming down, I think he started getting altitude sickness. He was getting pretty sick near the end. And it's sometimes you can avoid it. You can't avoid it. It's very difficult. But for myself personally, I didn't get any altitude sickness.
Well, I would say that's lucky. I've heard altitude sickness is very, very vicious sometimes.
It's like getting the
Yeah.
bends in skydiving.
Yeah. I mean, you can certainly die from it. The solution is you go low. Either you got to get carried down, but you got to get to lower altitude. You get to lower altitude, usually you can pull out of it pretty easy. Or, I carry shots, so you can take some certain shots to that worst case scenario to if somebody has it really, really bad, then you give them these shots and they'll be okay.
And then scuba diving too. You can get the bends. Skydiving, scuba diving, and high altitude hiking.
Nice. Wow. Well, I appreciate you answering my question. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop down and listen to you guys. I appreciate you having me on, Mike. It's always been a pleasure.
Hey, before you go, what were you saying in the chat about broadcast?
Oh, yeah. So I told the owner of Jack's Black Car Transportation about you today, and she was very intrigued and wanted to actually talk to you or us exchange some stuff and actually try to hook up with you and promote your business also with her business.
Oh,
And
nice.
she was she was really excited. I told her you had prior military, good friend, just looking out for people and stuff. And she's all about it. I said that you promote
Oh,
small
nice.
businesses.
Very cool.
So that's what I needed to talk to you about. But I
Oh,
actually
okay.
I shared her YouTube, or I shared your YouTube page with her, so she'll be looking into you.
Nice. Well, so if
And
she's looking
yeah,
to do a
so
little bit of sponsorship here on the Iron Man Mike Show podcast,
yes,
fantastic.
very
Hey, we
so.
were just
She
talking
said-
about that earlier, Mark.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. Well, I appreciate you doing that and connecting that. Appreciate you, Miss Cornbread. For that, do a shout out. How can people find you on social media, dear?
So I'm under Cornbread 36. Also, if you guys want to look up my owner's business,
On
which
what
I am
platform?
all about.
You got to tell everyone what platform.
Oh, so I'm on
You-
Clapper, and then I'm on Instagram, Cornbread 36. So if
Got
you
it.
guys want to get a hold of me, also if you guys need limo service, black car service, get a hold of me, and I'll hook up with you, and we can figure something out for you guys. So
Little plug there for you.
I'm digging that name, Cornbread. I am. I'm very much digging that name.
You want to see what she looks like? Here's a picture of her. There you go. Oh my goodness. Let me take my phone off. There you go. Meet Cornbread.
Hello.
How you doing, Cornbread?
I am
digging that
doing
name.
well. Thank you for asking.
How did you come up with the name Cornbread? That's a cool handle.
That's story when we're not being recorded, because it's probably not the best appropriate story, but it definitely, I will definitely, if you want to talk to me afterwards where we're not being recorded, I will gladly give you that information. So
Fair enough. Well, good
but
to meet you.
everyone likes Cornbread. Nice to meeting you too. Thank you for answering my question. I really appreciate it. That's really cool that you got to, travel up the highest mountain in Chile. I mean, I love traveling, so it's always good to learn new stuff and meet new people.
Yeah, traveling's. I think everybody should travel. I think it helps us appreciate where we're from.
Can you see her? There we go.
There you go.
I'm actually from Montana, so I actually got to experience a little altitude sickness myself when I came down to Florida 8 years ago, and then, or I was down in Florida for 2 years, and then went back up to Montana, and I got really sick. So it was very intrigued to hear your side of view on that. But yeah, they didn't know what I had when I was going through it, and my dad advised that it was probably altitude sickness because I was under sea level. So, but I'm back down in Florida, so it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Montana's a pretty cool place. I've been to almost every state, but I haven't been to. I've been to the Tetons over in Wyoming. Well, maybe I touched Montana because I went through the what's the park up there, Yellowstone, and I
Yellowstone.
think I might have popped into Montana, but man, that's God's country up there. That's beautiful.
Born and raised, my dad was stationed at Malmstrom up there. He did 20 years. Hey, um, 20 years in the military, Air Force, and he was stationed up there. So I lived there for 27 years, born and raised, and been through Montana. I'll tell you all kinds of cool places to go to in Montana if you ever want to talk about it. But it's
I think
gorgeous. Everyone should
I think
visit.
I would. Yeah, I'll definitely talk with you about it because I want a road trip up there. Definitely want a road trip.
Okay,
You
well,
know,
I'll tell you all the cool little secrets.
that's what I'm looking for. There's a college town up there, right? What is that? That's not Eugene. It's a college town up in Montana.
So there's Glacier and Yellowstone, and then of course we have Poulter Lake. We have all kinds of stuff. It's the more west you get in Montana, the more mountains you get. And actually, in the native language in Montana, Montana means mountains in the native language. So if anyone you're speaking native in that aspect, but yeah, if you ever want to exchange information, I'll tell you all kinds of cool little. There's Logging Creek, and that's in the Belt Mountains, and there's actually the mountain formed into it was a old man with a backpack with a little kid with a cap, and the mountains actually form that. So if you aim your truck or your vehicle a certain way, you can actually see those images in the mountains. But if you don't get it right when you're going down the road or the dirt road, you'll miss it. So, and there's just tons to do in Montana. If you're outdoors kind of person, you gotta visit Montana.
Done. I'm going.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
I'll
Well,
promote that.
I appreciate you being here. I could still reach out to you after the podcast if you want.
Yes. Actually, if you want to call me tomorrow, if you have some free time, and then we can because I'll be at work at 9 o'clock. Talk to me at work because it's business. And
Sure.
Teresa I'm telling you, Teresa's a lovely lady. I'm so glad that you're down here, Luna. That's awesome. And maybe we can hook up
Well,
and say hello to
welcome
each
in,
other.
Princess Luna. She might want to come up next.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well, I'm going to drop down and let that beautiful woman come up. Much love to Princess Luna. She is a wonderful woman. I just love her. She's the whole reason why I met Mike. I was in her room one night and we all
I
started chatting.
introduced
So.
you to her. That's correct.
No, you didn't. Princess introduced me to you. I thought that was the other way around.
No, I introduced you to her.
Oh.
Yes, I introduced you to her.
I am going to drop down and I'm going to let beautiful Miss Princess Luna come and say
All
hello
right.
to you.
If she's still here, she may have left. But all right. Well, thank you for jumping up and saying hello to my guest.
Well, nice meeting you guys. I hope you guys have a lovely night. I will
Likewise, you too.
and thank you. You too. Nice meeting you.
Likewise.
All right. Good night.
So, Michael, how often do you get back to Morgan Hill?
I get back to Morgan Hill. Let's see. Matter of fact, I was just there about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
I get back there often. Well, since I've moved from California to North Carolina, I left North Carolina or California to North Carolina. I arrived in North Carolina September 2nd, and I went back about 3 weeks ago. So
yeah, it's a beautiful town. It's I love Morgan Hill. And maybe there might be a chance. Maybe I would buy a house in Morgan Hill. You know, it's like I grew up there. We did all the deals in Morgan Hill, 4-H, and the parade. Remember the Morgan Hill parades?
yes.
And we used to have a
Carrillo
booth in
was
there.
in it. Yeah, Tammy
Yeah.
Carrillo was the princess, queen.
Right.
Cindy Lewis was the queen. She changed her name now. She's married. But yeah, so there's been a few people. Yeah, I used to love going to the parade. It was pretty awesome. The 4th of July parade was pretty awesome too.
Yeah, exactly. And then they have the I got really involved in the local stuff because my sister Eileen Washburn, she married a guy called Dennis Kennedy, who was the mayor of Morgan Hill for a while, for like 12 years. It was a long time. And I was able to really kind of get in on the inside track what's going on Morgan Hill. And man, I fell in love with it. I mean, I grew up in Uvis Road. So we were kind of in between Morgan Hill and San Jose. So my dad.
Uvis or Little Uvis Road?
What's that?
Were you on Little Uvis Road or Uvis Road?
No, right where Uvis and McKean, right where they switch by Casa Loma, right there. So
All right.
Frankie Portera, Sunday Portera, as Randy Kirk.
I remember Randy.
Those were all my neighbors.
Yep. Do you remember the Leathermans? John Leatherman?
No.
Leatherman? Yeah, they lived down Little Uvis Road. How about Machado? Glenn?
Yeah, I know the Machados. Yeah, sure.
Glenn and his family lived right there. His sister.
Yeah,
they lived right there at the beginning of the road. They were the first house on the left there.
right. And then the Bernies, Andy Burney and John Burney, I think it was. They lived up at Little Uvis. And then there was a kid, and he turned out to be this huge movie star, Grant Show. Grant Show lived up either Croy or Little Uvis, and he was like this interesting guy, and he was there for maybe about 4 years, 5 years, and then he disappeared, and then he became this huge movie star.
Oh.
And yeah, he was like Falcon Crest, or he was. Let me look this guy up. You'll get a crack out of this.
The name sounds familiar, but yeah, I know Mike Leatherman. He became a little famous there for a minute, playing country western music. He played in Nashville. He was on the band for John Michael Montgomery. So he was in his band as a musician and singer-song. I don't know if he was a songwriter, but singer. You don't remember the Leathermans? I'm surprised.
It's kind of yeah. I'm trying to think, but no, I can't. Yeah. Grant Show was on. He was on. I never watched it on Melrose Place.
Yeah, I didn't really watch that.
He was like the Jake Hansen guy. He was like, man, this is good-looking guys, and man, we wrote it wasn't the short bus. Maybe it was, but it basically was a school bus, and we all be in that school bus. That was an hour ride, right. Dude. I think that's child abuse now, because it was not only was it an hour ride, but there was no heaters in the thing, so you froze your ass off for an hour going to school. Yeah, it was brutal. I don't know, my earphones working? They still working?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Test 1 2.
Yeah.
Hello.
But my son was living in Morgan Hill, and then then he moved to San Martin, and then he shot down to now he's in Long Beach. Oh. And that was kind of like the last of the Mohicans in terms of people living in Morgan Hill.
Right.
And so it's like
Morgan Hill has grown.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it? Yeah, it has. And yeah, my dad sold his house, and that's the house I was born in. So it's
Jeez.
Yeah, a little bit of history there. But I've been out of the country for 33 years.
Jeez. How do you like living out of the United States? Pros and cons.
My is like dude in Spanish. In Costa Rica, say my. So if you hear me saying my, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I moved out about, right out of college. So like 89. And yeah, so you had Bush Senior, and kind of a little bit of recession. Then you had the Clinton. So when you live outside the United States and you're looking at the United States from the outside looking in,
it's a little frustrating, because you see things that maybe you don't see when you're living in the United States. Sometimes it almost looks like we look a little silly. Yeah, certainly I think the United States is out of touch with the rest of the world, which is kind of normal, because when you're number one, and the United States is arguably number one, you don't really pay attention to who's underneath you. Maybe second place, third place type of thing, but you don't really pay attention. And so I think the United States fell out of touch with the rest of the world. And now certainly they're paying a little more attention. What's that?
I hear that all the time from when I lived in Hawaii. I used to meet people from all over the world, and they used to say the same thing. They'd start asking me questions. Why is your government this, blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, I'd meet people from South Africa, especially Cape Town, and they'd be like, oh, your politics, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, they just used to hit things on point that made sense all the time. Everyone. I never heard anyone say something stupid, ridiculous, because I had to agree with them.
Yeah. And you have to dissect a lot of that, because there's a lot of people, I think they're jealous. I don't know if jealous is the right word, but United States is just such a great country, and it's been a great country for so many years. And you're going to have your ups and downs, and certainly we're going through some difficult times now, I think, as a country. But yeah, I think that maybe you lose a little bit of. I spent quite a bit of time in Africa and all the east and the south. And, they kind of look at the United States as like, what's going on over there? Sometimes out of curiosity, they don't quite get what's going on in the United States. But when it's like, I tell people, the United States is not California and New York. That's the United States that people know. It's all those states in between, which is the landmass wise is the biggest part of the United States. And I think that's the part that people don't know, that part of the United States. And I think that they know it a little bit better today than they did, before Trump, because I think he gave that part of the United States voice. He gave them voice of, you can vote. And I think it's a surprise, I think, for a lot of the world.
It's so interesting that you mentioned that, because you're right 100%, because there's a lot of things that occur in the United States that get downplayed, and the media won't play it, won't air it. And then next thing you know, it's like mainstream media all over the internet, and more people are online getting their news than mainstream media now. It's kind of funny. I don't even have cable TV anymore. I got rid of it. In September, I've had zero TV. I watch and get all my news 100% from YouTube, social media. That's it, period. And by word of mouth, when I talk to people who say, "Oh, did you hear about this?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." And then I'll go online and I'll see actual footage of the event and see it in real life and formulate my own opinion or thought on what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I think that's healthy. I read the left, like the New York Times. I'll read the New York Times, great writers, but I don't agree with a lot of their opinions. I read the Wall Street Journal. So I'll read all these different, both sides, and then try to come up with, okay, well, this is what they're saying, so this is what I understand, and kind of come up with my own synopsis, I guess, or conclusion. But it can be, when you're living in the United States, I think it can be very confusing. Like, how's the economy doing? Well, nobody's really talking about the economy in the United States, but it's tough.
Yeah, they're talking about all the money that's being sent to Ukraine. That's pretty crazy.
There's a bit of money sent into Ukraine. You ever been to Ukraine?
I have not. But
Yeah.
I've driven across country 6 times in the United States, and I know Highway 40. I just did it about 3 weeks ago. Highway 40 is horrible. There's so many potholes. Yes, there's a couple of stretches that have brand new roads, but from every single state I hit, from Arizona to North Carolina, the roads are horrible. Potholes, people getting flat tires. It's horrible.
The infrastructure is lacking. We used to hold our head high in regards to our infrastructure in the United States, in terms of our ports, our bridges, our roads, and I just think that those have fallen way behind. I mean, our bridges you have to put a little bit of money into that. But I think it's what I always tell people that I know that live in the States is, go travel. I mean, I spent a year and a half in Afghanistan. I spent years in Bangladesh, Africa. I've been all through Africa. And you realize how amazing the United States is, is when you see these other worlds and these other countries, and it's mind-boggling. I mean, even Costa Rica, this is a great, great country, but it doesn't hold a candle to the United States in so many ways.
Yep. Hey, real quick, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine that just popped up. He is a celebrity here in the United States. His name is Chef Ev, and he is on social media across the world, and he has a cooking show. And hey, Chef Ev, this is Mark Washburn.
What's happening? What's happening? Nice to meet you, buddy.
Hey, Chef Ev, good to meet you.
Nice
So,
to meet you.
so Chef, so Mark is currently living in Costa Rica, and he just conquered the tallest volcano in Chile. So I'm interviewing him. It's
in the world. Excuse me. It's 22,800 feet. It is. Let me see if I get the name. Well, go ahead and say this. Ojos.
You're right, bitch.
Ojos del Salado.
Yes, it's in Costa Rica or Chile.
So
Chile.
I know exactly. So I just watched a show last night on Netflix where this couple got stranded in Costa Rica on their third date during COVID, and they stayed in an Airbnb looking right at that volcano. Now, tell me some shit, bro. Come on, tell me Mother Universe don't work in a magical way. Shit, smell my pussy. What?
If there's a place to get stranded,
who said that?
Costa Rica is not a bad option. Yeah, Costa Rica is not a bad option. We have lots of volcanoes here as well. Yeah.
Is he on Clapper?
No, he actually is a famous hiker in the world. Yes, him and I went to high school together as well.
Well, he needs to create a Clapper.
Mark, I think. What's your thoughts on social media? I would encourage you to create a Clapper account and come on social media.
Come to Clapper, I got you.
All right, I'll come on Clapper. I'll come on.
Yeah, I got you.
I've never been on Clapper.
Yeah. Like a motherfucker.
Do you have Chef Ev used to be a Navy SEAL, and he's a veteran.
Like another month.
And he's very eccentric as well. He's got a blue beard. He has a huge heart. He just came off. He was on the podcast last night talking about the Cheer Choice Awards in Las Vegas. They just had that, and his organization came in second place this year. So we're pretty excited that he was come away with an award there. So pretty exciting. So, but yeah, Mark, Chef Ev, Mark, so Mark conquered the volcano, 3 weeks ago, right?
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, it's been 3 weeks ago.
About 3 weeks ago.
Right? Yeah. We got back up. We finished. We got down on the 30th. So yeah, it's been about 3 weeks. Wow, time flies.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
pretty exciting. But yeah, so Mark's been up here telling different stories, and currently we're talking about. I usually don't talk about politics, but we kind of segued into it a little bit. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead and finish your story.
No, I don't remember what I was talking about because I don't mind talking politics because I'm not a left and I'm not a right. I think that both sides have their strengths and both sides.
Well, here real quick, because I'm doing my social media bounce. I bounce around TikTok and Clapper and other platforms, and I pop in lives and shit and say, hey, people, Rubbing Wood just walked in the room. I'd rub his wood anytime. If you don't know Ironman Mike Rubbing Woods, it's Ironman Mike. And we got Mark on the phone who's going to create a Clapper. He's going to search for Chef EV because I come up number one in all your searches. You can Google me.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'll get into Clapper.
What did he say?
He said he's going to get into Clapper.
Yeah, once you get in it, you won't get out. But anyway, I love you, Ironman Mike. I got to bounce, people.
Hey, thank you for dropping in to say hello. Appreciate you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Mad big love. Nice meeting you too, Mark. Be waiting for your invite or waiting for your whatever it is. Send me a DM. Let me know it's you.
All right, you got it.
All right, take care. So that was Chef Ev. He is a famous. He does cooking shows. He travels around the country and goes to different shows, news segments. If you Google him, he's pretty pretty amazing at his cooking skills. And he's a huge,
What kind of foods?
well, he's gone now, but he cooks just all kinds of dishes, different styles. I don't think there's any one type of food that he always cooks, but I know he switches it up. He has different types of food.
Yeah.
So
Definitely I'll have to look him up.
yeah, but yeah, you think you want to create a Clapper account?
I guess so. It's like, I've got Instagram, but I just, even my Facebook, it's like, I'll be on it for a while, crank it out, and then I disappear. It's like I get so involved. I got so many things to do, it's like, it's hard.
I work all day and then I do this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. I
I
do.
don't know how you do it. And you got to have consistency because you can't miss, right?
So I literally finished work. I had to run and go get my dry cleaning. And while I was coming back, I came home. I was starting to make some food. I sat down at my computer. I saw your message, and then we did what we did. And then here we go, starting the show. So, and I start my day early. And then plus I work out in the morning before I go to work. So, yeah, I stay pretty busy with all of that. Hey, Plano Mike, what's up? Welcome in. So yeah, we got a lot of people. I'm up to 31 viewers currently right now.
It doesn't matter. My son's coming in. He's getting his climbing gear.
Hey, what's up, man? Come say hello. Get over here, man.
With my son Vincent. This is Iron Mike.
What's
Nice
up?
to meet you, man.
Hey, I'm Iron Man
Nice
Mike.
setup you got there.
We got a pod. Yeah, you want to see the whole thing? Here, check it out.
Like a
We
podcast.
got the podcast
Yeah.
studio here. We got the drinks earlier. Hey, Mike's, and this is here on Clapper right now. Now we're on Clapper. So there's the Clapper. And then I got the monitors and the lights in the background. So yeah, we got a pretty nice little studio set up.
That's awesome.
Got the Marine Military Force Reconnaissance. We got a sponsor right there, Active Shoot Awareness. And then of course we got the flag, and all gave some gave all. This is one of our sponsors here. They make these plasma cutting little devices here. So of course we got the flag in the background. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. And hey, here's a little shout out to one of our sponsors here. So where are you from?
I'm from Costa Rica.
Born and raised?
Yes, sir.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Well, I've known your dad since he was a young man. So yeah, we went to high school together. Technically, he was a few years older than me, but we started really kind of connecting at reunions and stuff like that. So there you go. So do you hike with your dad?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. You also climb mountains?
I've climbed mountains. Matter of fact, I've cycled up Mount Diablo in Morgan. Geez, what city is that in? Walnut Creek.
Yeah.
Blackhawk, Danville area.
Okay. That's cool.
So that's in East Bay in California. So I do Ironman races, Spartan races. So I like to stay pretty fit, keep myself going.
Yeah, awesome.
So your
I
dad
agree.
is
It's a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, heading to the gym.
all right. Well, go get your gym
Well,
on.
hey, it was nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. There you go. That's who
So
ducking in
this is
and
all
out
my
there.
equipment for my climbs.
Yeah, I figured that was your equipment. Yeah, you should talk about your equipment before we wrap up the podcast. How are we doing with time still? Good?
Yeah, I'm good. So I'll start with the boots. So these are the boots that I take up to the mountains. They're like they're insulated boots. And yeah, so you got sleeping bags, you get gear, these are ice axes.
And spikes that go on those boots, right? When you're walking up the
Yeah.
check out those spike axes. Those are pretty cool, man.
So the best part
Welcome in, Dirty Carpenter. Welcome in.
The best part about climbing is all the gear that you can buy. So these are called ice tools is really what you call these. So these are the ones when you're doing like a waterfall, you would go up.
Jeez.
You have your crampons, which are the spikes on the bottom.
I'd be
So
afraid.
yeah, so I leave all the equipment here, and then my kids, because my daughter rock climbs and my son rock climbs. But I went rock climbing with them this weekend. It was kind of cool to go hang out with them and have them kick my ass on the mountain, on the rock. But yeah, the equipment's really cool, dude. I mean, that's the best part about hiking and climbing.
You're
is-
like me, man. If I buy something, I go all in and I get really good gear. I try not to get cheap gear. I buy good. There we go.
yeah, no. Yeah, you're looking sharp there. Yeah.
This microphone itself, it's just sure. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
$400 or $500 microphone, just the microphone itself. And I got 4 of them. So
The thing is, not only you get the quality, but it's going to last you a very, very long time.
exactly. Why get
Right.
cheap stuff that breaks and the sound, the quality? I mean, it just speaks volume, no pun intended.
Right, exactly. So I told my kids, I go, look, come here anytime, borrow all the equipment you want to borrow, because there's nothing worse than having equipment and not having it being used, and it just sits there.
Right.
And so, man, it gets used quite a bit, either by myself or by my kids. So I that's pretty cool. Is when you can go climbing or you can enjoy the sport with your kid. I think that's a lot of fun.
Exactly. Oh, I agree. And the fact that he is getting involved and doing it, I think that's awesome. So, hey, thank you so much for the likes, everybody. Thanks for the follows. Appreciate you guys very much. We are interviewing Mark Washburn. He conquered the tallest volcano in the world, 28,800 feet. He ascended to the top, him and a colleague of his, a good friend of his. And man, that's pretty amazing. So we're interviewing Mark Washburn. He actually is going to be starting and opening up a Clapper account, and he'll set that up. What other social medias? Why don't you give a shout out to your social media accounts so people can follow you?
Yeah. So I have a business. One of my businesses where I bring in organic nuts and dried fruits into Costa Rica. It's called Jumbo Trade. It's on Instagram. So you can follow us on Instagram. And it, because I intertwine, because it's organic, so I intertwine the organic healthy with sports. So if you saw me in some of those pictures, the picture I'll send you, you'll see me with like a bag of like cashews, organic cashews.
Oh, the flag too.
The flag, that was the Jumbo. So Jumbo is a name I got from Kenya. So I was in Kenya. Well, there's a funny story, but Jumbo means like hello. You ever like Jamba Juice?
Yes.
Well, I know the owners of Jamba Juice, right? Because I used to sell to them years ago. And I think what they really meant to put, it was Jumbo, because Jamba doesn't mean anything. It does mean something, but something derogatory. But I knew the owner, and the guy was he was a partier. And I think he might have screwed up the A and the O. So
yours is JOMBO.
It's JAMBO versus Jamba. So it's JAMBO, Jumbo. So Jumbo's like hello, like good to meet you, have fun. It's a nice way to greet somebody. Say Jumbo. How you doing? Jumbo. I mean, I'm doing good, like pure life or whatever.
Like, hello, hey, how are you?
Yeah. So I pulled that name and it was available. So I started this company. And yeah, so we bring products from around the world to Costa Rica and to Guatemala and different countries. And it's fun. It's cool. It's healthy. And I think if it wasn't healthy, I don't think I would do it.
All about nutrition, staying fit, staying healthy, eating well. I mean, I'm so glad to hear all this. This is amazing.
Yeah. Now I also do like CBD products. We don't really have a website for that, but I'm kind of sold on CBD. I think it's probably a little bit. It's a placebo type of thing.
Sure.
Some people swear by it, but we sell a lot of it. So
interesting. I never heard that before. Speaking of products, I do the ironmanmike show. I've got shirts, hats, sweatpants, women's, men apparel. So I think do you have a whole line of apparel logo?
No, we don't. No, we don't. Probably should, but we have some shirts.
So there's a website that you can send your logo to, and they'll put it and print it on anything you want, and you can link it to your website. So if people want to shop, they just click your shop. It goes to this other third-party vendor who puts your logo on all these products. And guess what? You don't have to do anything but collect the check that goes into your account at the end of each month.
Dude, isn't that amazing?
Simple. I do nothing. I promote my stuff and I get a check once a month. They ship it. They do everything, customer service, everything.
In college, we every time there was like an event or a crisis, we would go out and make all these T-shirts.
I
And
remember.
kind of sell them to that, kind of link it to that crisis. And silk screening, it was a pain in the ass.
I
There
know.
wasn't no internet, that didn't exist, and it was hard work. It's like, and people like, dude, how'd you do the shirt? And he goes, well, it was a process. Now you can just like get to somebody's website and they'll do all that shit for you. That's
Yep.
dude.
I mean,
It's so much easier today to be an entrepreneur than it was, 30 years ago, dude. I mean, it's like you can outsource everything.
Yep.
Everything. That's pretty cool.
so I don't do a ton of advertising for that, and I probably need to promote it a little bit more. But yeah, you could put. I'll share the link with you, and there's like 3 or 4. You can Google it. I mean, there's like 5, 6, 10 different companies that do all that. You do nothing except share your link on your page, and it goes to them. And then from that page, you can click it and go back to your website. So they're universal. They go back and forth. So
Dude,
it's
that's
pretty cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There you
So
go.
I mean, and you just send them the artwork, and they'll just tell them what you want to put it on, and they'll source the shirts.
Nope. You got to create your own logo. You upload it and you click on all the product you want, and that goes into your store. It's a done already website store. It's a storefront.
That's wicked.
Yeah. It's pretty
Good.
cool. That's pretty cool.
And what's that hat you got on? What's that hat you have on? That's the Iron Man. Oh, okay, I got you. What's that in the middle?
It's a microphone.
Oh, is that a microphone?
Get it? The Iron Man Mike Show.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah,
people think it's Iron Man Show. What's Iron Man? Oh, Iron Man Mike Show.
All right. Okay, I got you.
Try to be a little
Yeah.
funny. Kind of like a microphone hanging down like that.
Yeah, no, it works. It works. That's smart. Man, I'm gonna check it out. Send me that link. I want to definitely check it out. It's
Do that.
I
I would like 1% perpetuity. No, just kidding. Royalty.
royalties.
What do they call
Right.
that? Perpetuary? I don't even know that word.
Right.
The Sharks and Shark Tank talk about it. So, but hey, I know we're I told you 8:30, and how are you doing with time? Just be respectful of your time. So I know we're getting to the end of the show here. Yeah.
So we can talk about other stuff. I mean, I'm open.
Well, so you had an amazing opportunity to conquer this amazing volcano that's tallest in the world, which is really cool. I'm gonna have to put that on the podcast. And I'm just proud of you, man, that you're 61 years old. You conquered this like 3 weeks ago. And man, and you're going to take a break, it sounds like, just to let people know who are coming in now. What other things? You're a family man, you stay fit, athletic. You want to talk about your business a little bit? Plug that towards the end here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna really plug my business, but I think I just plug about just where I'm at as a human being. I think that's so important. I was listening to your podcast with the guy you had on a month ago from one of our high school buddies, Pat, I think it was.
Pat White.
Yeah, Pat White. Man, I really listened to that podcast. And first of all, man, my hat goes out to you, Mike, because man, I don't know how many people you've helped. I don't know your podcast that far back. I don't know what you've done, but I can tell you you're a pretty amazing human being. Because one thing we talked about when we were off show. No, but when we were off show, it's like if we all go back in time, maybe not all of us, but certainly it applies to me. There was a couple decisions that had things turned a different way, I might end up in jail. I don't know. I could have been homeless, and it's like, there was certainly a bit of luck of the draw. And man, when I heard Pat and his story, and it hit me, it hit me, and certainly I'm not a guy that I don't take things for granted. I got blessed with a body that I can do things at 61 that I know a lot of other people can't do, and that's not like because I'm this amazing guy. I got a little bit of lucky, and certainly I work at it, but I got a little bit of lucky, and I've done well financially. I've done pretty well, and I got lucky because, man, things could have turned differently in my life. And so, man, I just look at things differently today where, certainly I don't think I live in the moment because that sounds like such bullshit, but I do. I live, I don't think of what happened in the past, and I certainly don't really worry too much about the future. But I just try to make the moment the best I can. And that seems to work for me. And that's, I got this amazing wife that she certainly has been she's been a savior for me in so many ways. And I imagine some of these people that go out there and hear, oh, this guy, everything's great for him. Or we go on Facebook, we go on Facebook and you see how everybody's freaking amazing, and man, that's a little bit toxic, I think, at times, because life's not always easy. Life's not always easy, and people might paint their life as some amazing thing, but we all go through difficult times, and it's like, I certainly went through it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I got to do some really cool things in my life, and I was lucky. Certainly I went out there and pushed for things, but I was lucky. And man, I don't forget about that. That's something I don't forget about.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you. And I owe it all to a couple of Live Oak Acorn alumni who stepped up, and financially, there was quite a few that donated to help Pat. Unfortunately, he got into a situation where, he had a spiral. He had a loss of both of his parents. He had an injury that unfortunately got addicted to pain medication that was supposed to help him. So, I owe it to others who stepped up to help. I just connected the dots. I just helped. I was just the middleman to help just connect everyone together and just to get it going. I appreciate the compliment, but I owe it all to, especially to the gals who donated quite a bit of money to help him, have a place to stay while he's recovering from surgery he had after the hospital. And, he had a nice warm bed versus he was sleeping in his car for like months. And, he was able to recover a little bit. And so they were able to financially afford a hotel for him. It was like an extended stay type place where he was there for 2 or 3 weeks. I forgot exactly. Plus money for a lot of donors that helped with him with food. But, in hindsight, if we all just help one another when others are down, if we pull our resources together to help others, it really, really takes a community, a village to help raise little ones or to help those who have fallen. And I don't mean physically fallen. Well, yes, and physically fallen, help them up. But those who unfortunately end up in a bad spot. I mean, I've been in a bad spot. I got to a point once in my life where I was stuck at a gas station and I waited there until I had enough fuel in there to get to my next spot. I had to humble myself and, ask people, I'm like, hey, I don't need money, but can you put a few gallons or a little bit of, $1 worth of gas in my car? That was tough. And the whole time I had my little one in the car with me at the time. So it's not like I was, faking it. I really was in a bad spot at one time after I went through a separation. It was really difficult. So I've been there. That's why when I hear a struggle, I don't mind helping because I know God says, help others, pass it on. There you go.
I tell you, because I was listening to people stepping up in the podcast, and I thought that was really pretty cool, but it's like, I think sometimes it takes a voice. It takes a voice to motivate people or to bring it to the forefront. Mine, and I think you have a special gift in that area.
Thank you,
Michael. Really, don't thank me. Thank God, He's the one that gave it to you, right? Yeah. And I think that that's I think that's a beautiful thing. And the fact that you're using that in such, positive way. I mean, this is a great, conversation, but it's like, yeah, I think these people like Pat, these people that really need the help, I think bringing those people to the forefront, that's for me is so much more important. I mean, I can tell about all these amazing things that I did, but man, I got lucky. And it is what it is, but yeah, so it's like, yeah, I remember in 2012, my mom died, and then my sister died like 2 months later, and then
Jeez.
my dad got thrown in the clink for some bullshit business deal. And if that didn't turn me into a spiral, man, it was rough. That was a very, very rough time in my life. And I got caught up in bad relationships. I did all kinds of like stupid things, and this is where a point where I thought I had my life all together, and that's the other thing is like, when you think things are great and you maybe get a little bit cocky, man, life can throw spins, and life can take you down really fast, and I think it's healthy. You spend the time at the gas station. I'm sure it sucked at the time, for sure it did. Asking for gas money, or asking for gas, but it's humbling as well, and there's got to be a life lesson in there that you probably carry today. And because I certainly do with what I went through in my difficult times. And by pure luck, I made some right decisions and started going down a pretty good path again, because I could have gone the other way. And man, we wouldn't be talking here today for sure. We wouldn't.
It's interesting that you mentioned that comment. When I go to gas stations now, and when I see, because you see people sometimes doing the same thing I did, I don't even hesitate. I will, I know where I'm at, and I'm able to help out what I can, whether it's $5 or a 20, or sometimes I've given $100 bill before. So, I can't always do that to everyone, but I know I try to pay it back, and that's all we can do in life, because I was in a spot, I needed it. I remember this one guy, he might be watching this one day. I found out later. So anyway, I asked him, hey, I just need $1 or $2. And he's all, hey, I got you, no problem. And he put his card in there and started pumping. And I stopped at, because I think I said like a few bucks or whatever. And I said, hey, thank you so much. And he goes, no, keep going. And I'm like, are you sure? And he's all, okay. So I kept going, and I stopped at like, I think I was doing like $3 or $4 increments. And he's all, no. And finally, after the third time, he's all, fill it up. I started crying, man. This guy helped me out, filled my tank, and I was in Santa Rosa. I was stranded trying to get back to the Bay Area. And man, because I needed a full tank to get, but from Santa Rosa way up, I was way up above Santa Rosa, like an hour past Santa Rosa, to get back to Morgan Hill, San Jose. And man, I was so blessed. And I never forgot that guy. And it helped me get home. So
Dude, that's a beautiful story. I mean, it's a beautiful story. It's too bad you couldn't connect with this guy somehow in this magical world, right?
well, you know what? God, he was a man of God, of faith, and he was I think he told me he was a youth minister. He was a young guy. He was younger than me. He was in his probably late 20s, 28 or 29. And I still remember to this day. Just amazing man, just helped me out. And then so like I said, and here's the cool thing about it. My 17-year-old, I've taken her with me numerous times. We'd go make sandwiches and snacks and go feed the homeless. I've taught her to do that. We've done that before. We've done, every time you're on the side of a road somewhere on the corner island, there's someone with a sign, and I'm like, grab my wallet, grab some money out, and she'd grab a 5 or a 10 or a 20, and when she was little, she used to want to give it to him, and she's learned at an early age to help others.
What a beautiful lesson to teach your children at such a young age, because that's the stuff that they don't forget. The feeling of giving it's, I don't know if there's anything else that really comes to that feeling of giving, where you give, you just do it. You don't tell anybody about it. It's just like this private thing between you and that person.
I was
And
just about to say that, and I realized here I am talking about it, and everyone's going to know now.
I
But
mean, it doesn't count. It doesn't count because you don't know. I mean, you're talking about something in the past that nobody will know. Connect those two dots.
but it's a life lesson learning opportunity for my kids, and so I think I agree with you. Yeah, just teach those, set examples by doing it yourself.
Yeah, and where do you think that came from? Was it because of your own, what you went through, and then you say, I want to do things differently, or did you learn it as a kid?
Actually, if you have a minute, it's two things, 100%. When I was in my 20s, I was living in Hawaii. I was stationed in the Marine Corps, and when I had gotten out, or right before I got out, I met a young lady who is the mother of my 29-year-old daughter. But her mother, even though we had split up, we stayed friends and stuff like that. Not right away, but I remember one time watching her. She would unfortunately get a little tipsy. She was a waitress and a bartender, and she would make 2, 3, 4, $500 in a night with her tips. And she would go through the town, go into different bars and clubs. But then anytime she saw a homeless person, she would stop and like put money in their shirt, 20, a 10, a whole bunch of ones. And by the end of the night, she would be broke. And I looked at her like, you can't even pay your own bills now. You needed that money to pay your rent. She always ended up getting the money the next day and she made up for it. But I used to watch her do this. I went with her after we had split up. She had her 3-year-old daughter that I told you about earlier in the story. I went to Detroit, Michigan one time, and we went to a Lions game, baseball game. They were playing the New York Yankees. It was the most televised, and you can Google all this, whoever's watching this. It was the most televised game in history, the most watched. It was like a playoff game, or it was a big rivalry. I forgot what it was. It wasn't the World Series. I think it was a playoff game, though, for sure. And went to the game. We had front row tickets. I ended up getting 9 foul balls that day.
Whoa!
9 balls. Now, not all of them were fouls. Some of them were me like at the dugout going, "Hey, throw me a ball." And I fought for every ball. And I gave them out to people around me. So, but here's the thing. After the game, when we were walking back to the car late at night downtown Detroit at like 9, when a baseball game ends, what, 9, 10 o'clock at night, right?
Yeah.
So it's late. We have a 3-year-old with us. I'm carrying the 3-year-old, and she's still tipsy from drinks at the game. And I gave all the balls away, and I gave one to her daughter, and I think I kept one. I still have it somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but I kept anyway. And there she was again. This is years later, and here she is giving all her money away to all these people because she went from work. We went to the game, and she still bartends and the waitresses and so forth. And here she is doing it like 10, 15 years later, doing the same thing, giving out all her money, knowing that she's struggling still to pay this. And to answer your question, where did I get it from? Watching that woman do that, being a godly man, knowing that it's good to give at church and through my own struggles. So technically, to answer your question, it's 3 things that I've learned. I didn't learn it from a parent. I learned it from my ex, watching her do it, and the other 2 examples I just shared with you.
All right. That's a pretty cool story. I mean, that's that's interesting. And that it marked your life. It marked your life. And probably without those examples, you think you'd be doing this today, do a podcast, any of this?
You know what? I help the homeless. I do a lot of community stuff. My other daughter, my 29-year-old daughter, said, Dad, with all the things that you've been doing for the last decade or so, you should start a foundation. So I have a name for a foundation, and I want to start a foundation because I want to create something where I'm helping others create a 901c, 501c, I think it's called. And I just haven't done it yet just because of my move. And I've been going through a whirlwind, but I'm thinking if I can get to a certain point, I think it'd be a cool thing to do that, to set it up to help people, leave a legacy of helping others. And the whole thing was my daughter's idea. She gave me the name too, and I'm like, oh, that's a great name. So,
Yeah.
so
Keep it
anyway,
under your hat until you're ready to register it.
buy the name and all that stuff. And actually, if you go onto my podcast, on subscribe, and if you click on the one where I'm in Hawaii, I'm interviewing General Jimmy J. Wells. I told him the same story, and he's all, I want to be on your board of directors. So I already have someone that wants to be on the board of, I've got two people that want to be on the board of directors. So I'm pretty excited about that. I've got one person that wants to donate, but it takes money. I mean, it's like $2,000, $3,000 just to open up a 501c. So I need to raise money for that and then create the 501c. And then I got one person that said he wanted to donate like $25,000. And I'm like, oh my God. He's all, but you got to create and I'm like, it's a catch-22. So I'm in the middle of this, to start this. I got people that want to be on the board of directors. But yeah, I mean, that's one of my passions. I'd love to get that started. And, I just want to help others. So
That's pretty cool. Very honorable.
Yeah.
And did you say Hawaii? How do you pronounce it?
Hawaii. I lived there for 6
Hawaii?
years. So I learned the proper enunciation from the
I
Hawaii.
caught that. I just went there for a wedding. Well, my sister got married. I have 3 sisters and a brother. So I went to Waikiki.
Yep.
It's a military, there's a military hotel there.
Yep.
And
Haleiwa.
yeah, exactly.
There's the whole Hawaii. There's the Haleiwa. That's the east west side. Haleiwa. I think it's called Haleiwa Hotel.
Yeah, it's one right in Waikiki. It's got 60 acres of land. It's this huge deal.
I was just there this past May. I went there in May. I took my whole family there. So in all fairness, my daughter, her boyfriend, myself, and we chipped in and we bought my parents tickets, her and her husband, to fly to Hawaii. So
Nice.
it was my daughter, Mariah, Daniel, her boyfriend, Haley, the young girl I told you about, my other youngest daughter. My other daughter didn't want to go, so she was away at college or wanted to go. She didn't want to go, so I'm like, okay. And then both the parents and myself. So that's what, 7, 8?
Wow.
Yeah, there were 7 or 8 of us. Yeah,
That's an event.
and we went there and we rented a not Airbnb. What's the other one called? It's the
Hotel.com or Airbnb. Or
Airbnb. I thought it was called something else. No, maybe it is. Okay. So Airbnb, I guess that's what it's called. Yeah. So we went on Airbnb and got this really cool place. It was like an apartment with 3 rooms, like individual rooms. And each room people stayed in. So I had my room, my daughter slept on the couch, the other daughter slept in another room, and my parents slept in their own little room. Actually, there was 4 because my other daughter and her boy. Yeah, so there was like 4 rooms, and we all had our own little area. So it was pretty cool.
yeah, so I was a little pissy when she goes, yeah, we're gonna get married in Hawaii. I'm like thinking to myself, dude, I live in Costa Rica. It's like $2,000, per person to fly over to Hawaii, and it's like I'm going from Costa Rica to Costa Rica. Because it's the same climate. I'm just like, whatever, it's like, I was pissy and so we get over there, we had the wedding, and my wife actually, she was the, what do you call it? The person that did the wedding, the, not the curator, but the wedding person. And so
Coordinator?
Yeah, she was not the coordinator, but the one that actually said, "Do you give this person?" She was the one that gave him away. I guess I don't know what you call it.
Or ordained minister.
Yeah, online ordained, whatever. You know,
That's good.
you pay $20 and you're ordained. It's like boom, you're done. And then so we're eating at dinner at night, and my sister goes, "Oh, I've got mom and Eileen, my sister. I have their ashes, so we want to send them out in the ocean." And I was like, "Oh, well, that would have been kind of cool to tell me before. You know, this is kind of a big deal." You know, because I'm old and I'm grouchy, right? And so I'm like, okay. So next morning we get up at like 5:36 in the morning, and we go out to the Waikiki. We go out to the rock thing, this jetty, and so I was there with my two sisters, just the three of us, and we proceeded to have this freaking amazing conversation about our upbringing, our parents, you know, the goods and the bads, and not to go into detail. And it was just like this beautiful bonding moment that I had with my sisters. And it was like, and it was such a life lesson for me, because I'm whining about going over to Hawaii. First of all, how dare you whine about going to Hawaii, dude? I mean, it's like, you know, life's hard. And then it was like, it wasn't about the wedding at all. It was about this time I got to spend with my sisters and have this really deep crying and hugging time with them that never would have happened probably in my lifetime had I not gone over to Hawaii. So it's like, what was that movie with that Yes Man with Jim Carrey?
Oh,
Where
I think that's what it was called. Yes, man.
Yes Man?
Jesus or yes.
Yeah, such a goofy movie, right? But there's something to be said in that movie where, as we get, at least when I get older, it's kind of like, no, it's uncomfortable. No. And it's just also, he talks about it. You just say yes. Just say yes. And man, and I know so many people that just don't do anything anymore, you know, because it's like, it's uncomfortable. And so I've been trying so hard just to be a yes man, you know, and especially with my wife. Yeah, I'll go do it. Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. You know, and it's like, I'm doing things, and opens all these doors. I'm doing these crazy things that there's no way I would be doing them because I said yes. And so I think that Hawaii trip was kind of a lesson for me because it was like, good.
That's great, man. I love hearing stories like that because
Yeah.
you know so me, I over volunteer myself, way overcommit all the time. And my wife is just like always upset with me. You're always doing that. Spend more time with that. But here I am when I give and I'm helping the community. I volunteer at my kids' school, elementary, junior high, high school. I was that parent that was at every event, every sporting event. I was always the assistant coach on every sporting event that all my kids did. And I just wanted to be there. I wanted to live vicariously through them because I did all that when I was little. So I understand. I like to say that. But then she was always like, say no. So I started saying no, no, no. And then like, I mean, it was positive because I was able to spend more time and do family stuff. And then and then I started the podcast. And here I
That was
am.
the nail in the coffin.
And then I started the podcast and it was just like, Dad, it's dinner time. I'm like, oh, I got to do my podcast. And then I changed the time of the podcast to 6:30 so we can have dinner. Okay, rush to dinner. Like, okay, got to do a sound check. So
Certainly
then
there's a balance like everything else in life, right? And to find that balance, but certainly I think there's a difference between you and I, where I was more of a no guy and just kind of like nah, to where I'm trying to commit to as many things as I possibly can. And it's funny because you do find time. It mysteriously, you know, and I don't know where it comes from. I know where it comes from. It's like I waste so much time I don't even realize it. Then when you're busy, it's like, oh wow, man, I got time for all of this stuff, you know. And it's like, yeah, you do, but you were spending it pretty, you know, unwisely over the years. So I think, yeah, there's certainly Yeah. So anyway, that was a kind of a crazy story.
Destiny, thank you very much for the likes. I appreciate you very much. We're getting likes for the podcast right now. So, man, this podcast has been very uplifting, very motivating, and unexpected twist in our conversation. And I appreciate you, man. This has been really, really good. And man, we're like at 2 hours and 10 minutes, and man, time flies.
We're probably boring the hell out of everybody.
Well, I know a lot of people say, "Hey, make your podcast longer because I can listen to it while I'm traveling, or I could." People like to listen to it while they're falling asleep and just different stories. And the cool thing about doing podcasts, we're leaving a legacy. Our friends and family can watch it later, and those we don't know and future friends. So that's what that's why I like doing them. I feel like if I'm able to talk about nutrition, fitness, and helping others every podcast, which I do, I feel like I've done my part. And I just bless God Almighty, who has given me the gift of the gab, and I enjoy doing it. And I appreciate you being on here today, being brave enough to come up here, and I appreciate you, man. You're an amazing man.
Michael, thank you so much. And I've never done a podcast before, and I don't know if I'll do one again, but there was something about you when you put that invite out, and I'm like, no. And then I listened to that podcast with Pat, and I was impressed. I was really impressed with how you got like 10 things going at the same time. I was like, I'm trying to follow, but and the Pat's there and they disappears. But it was so real. It was so real in the moment, and it was like, and just listening to people say, man, hey, if you want to come to Florida, it's a long way, but you got a place here, you got a place here, you got a place here. You just brought something to the table, and everybody fed. It was kind of it was very, very cool. And I knew I was going to follow up and say, yeah, let's make this thing happen. And I certainly didn't really want to talk about like how amazing I am and all that shit, because I'm not, because I think luck is a good, luck is. I think if we feel like we realize that we're lucky to where we're at, I think that's helps us to be a little humble.
It's something I learned in the military and hard work. It's not luck if you worked your tail off to get to that point for you to be able to do something. So when people say, "Oh, you're lucky because you have great looking abs and great looking muscles, or you accomplished this thing," no, somebody studied their ass off or worked their tail off. Hey, when I get up at 3, 4 in the morning to go start doing my Ironman trainings, there's nobody there. It's just me and the water, me and the cycle, me and the running, me and the hardest thing about working out is it's that first step, getting out of bed.
Oh,
Comfortable, warm bed. Who wants to get out of a comfortable, warm bed when you're so relaxed? But no, when you get that drive and you get that tenacity to do it, that's what it's about. So it's that drive. So you earned it, man. Don't downplay the fact that you know how many, there's probably 1% or less of the world that's physically fit enough to do that. All these muscle bound building bodies, you know what? They may be great looking physique, but their cardio is not very good. And then anyway, my whole point is you earned it. Enjoy it, because there'll be a day in your life when you won't be able to get up. So you earned it, man. You earned it.
I
Congrats.
appreciate that. I appreciate that, Michael. I really do. And yeah, but it's like, getting out of that bed. I don't know. I'm always looking for new tricks to get out of that bed, because sometimes that's hard, man. When you're comfortable, you just relax, and it's like, oh man, I gotta go run 6 miles.
You want to know the secret? You want to hear it?
I would love to know the secret. I would.
All right. If those of you subscribe to my podcast and watch the next one, I'll tell you.
Oh, dude.
Kidding.
That's a teaser.
So here's the secret. No lie. That first week, forcing yourself to get up and hit that alarm, you're only going to do it maybe 3 to 4 times, if that. The second week is that commitment to like, oh, I'm starting to get sore. 7 to 10 days after you start your new training, you can't move. You're hitting muscles that you're so sore. You're sore to the touch. Once you get past into your third week, once your muscles start calming down, settling down, the secret is this: every single time you get out of bed, when you're done working out, how do you feel?
Amazing.
Exactly. I'm going to tell everyone who is watching this podcast who is struggling to work out, when you're done working out, you're all going to agree with me, because what happens is your endorphins kick in, your synapses in your brain kick in, and it becomes a drug. Your adrenaline, your body feels good. And some people obtain that through drugs or drinking or other activities. But when you do it naturally, your body produces serotonin levels that are so amazing, that make you feel so good that it becomes a habit. It becomes a addiction. And this is a true story right here. Your body, after your first 30 days, you're forcing yourself to do it. After 60 days, it becomes a routine. After 90 days of doing this, forcing yourself to do this, after 90 days, this is fact, Google it, everyone, it becomes habit. What is habit? People say, oh, I don't have time to work out. Well, guess what? When you incorporate it into your life and it becomes habit, habit is like breathing. Habit is like eating. Well, maybe that wasn't a good example. I retract that one. But a habit of when you're doing something consistently and you do it automatically without even thinking, that's automatic habit. It's called muscle memory. So muscle memory is a big deal. And what happens is when after 90 days, it's incorporated into your life, into your routine, into a habit. And that becomes your lifestyle. And your new you starts forming. You don't have to jump on a scale and watch your weight, because what happens is muscle is heavier than fat. You don't want to watch the scale, but what you want to do is when you look in the mirror and you notice, oh, I'm 1 notch down. Oh, I'm 2 notches down on your belt. Oh, 3. Oh, shoot, my clothes are baggy. Oh, I can buy the next size down. Oh my God, that's looking good. Oh my gosh, 90 days later, you might be 3 belt notches down or more, and you might be a pants or 2 size down. And you're starting to, you feel good, number one, because of the serotonin levels, the endorphins that kick in every time you work out at the end of each one. You start looking and paying attention to what you're eating, what you're putting into your mouth, and how much water you start drinking. And you start realizing coffee, caffeine, soda, milk, juices, all these carbonated crap that you put in your body, you realize like, hey, you start learning. You look in the mirror, your physique is looking good. And that's what excites me about doing these endurance races, because you start noticing that if you're married or in a relationship, you start noticing in the bedroom, your activity level, you're better at it, you last longer, and it's amazing. And I'm telling you, it changes the dynamics of your personality, your confidence, how you feel, how you look, how you act. And that, my friend, is the secret point.
Yeah, that's I would agree with all that. So when you do an Ironman, how much do you lose during that day in an Ironman?
Oh my gosh. I probably 10, 15 pounds. I lost a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I lost about 11 pounds on this hike. And we ate like pigs. I mean, you stuff yourself to try to get the calories in, but I mean, we're burning 5,000-6,000 calories, and it's like, and when you lose that weight, it's like that belt does, it's 2 loops farther or 2 holes farther in. It's a great feeling.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a great feeling. But it's my weight is like, I don't struggle with it, but I can get 7-8 pounds overweight pretty quick. I can't eat anything I want. I can't do that. Yeah, because it's like the jeans, I can still put them on. It's like, oh, I'm still 32, man. Yeah, it's like, dude, you're not really a 32. You might be wearing 32s, but you ain't no 32. You're a 34. No, get rid of that shit.
Exactly. Yep. Man, that's it, man. That's why I dedicated my life. I always say this on my podcast, a couple of phrases. My grandfather taught me this. He said, only floss the teeth you want to keep.
What?
Yep, that's why I paused. Only floss the teeth that you want to keep. Number 2, your body's like a temple. Only put good things in it. And if you take care of your body when you're younger, your body will take care of you into old age. Point.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with the I don't know about the flossing one. That's an odd one. It's like, I guess it's like, if you really have to floss all your teeth, you don't floss them at all. So yeah. So
Yeah, if you miss a couple of teeth, those are the ones that are gonna get the bad stuff that builds up on it and rot and fall out.
yeah. Isn't old age just so exciting to look forward to?
Oh yeah.
You know, it sucks. And again, I'm in good shape for a 61-year-old, but it still sucks being old. It's just
Big shape. Look at those guns on you. Let me see the muscles, man. Look at that.
oh no, it's like
Yeah, look at you,
I
man.
lost
Look
all
at
those.
that. Look at that. Ugh.
No.
Darn man, Mike here.
Now that's muscle right there. That's muscle right there.
I haven't worked out in probably like about a week and a half.
Yeah.
My living room right now, it is being transformed into a new gym. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should do a podcast of me setting it up. That's what I should do.
I think that'd be cool. Do a podcast and do some of your workouts. I think that would be yeah, you're probably
New
bored.
equipment. I should do a podcast of me setting it up.
Yeah.
Probably take me about 3 hours. Might be a 3-hour podcast. That'd be kind of boring.
It'll be boring. You would lose a few people for sure. But it's in your living room? What's the wife think of that?
So I'm getting a divorce, and
Right.
she's in California, and I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, so you're separated.
Yes, we're separated.
So you can do whatever the hell you want with your living room.
Gym right now. So right now I moved everything off the mat and everything's set aside, and I went and bought new weight equipment. And so I'm about ready to. I was gonna start assembling it today, but I didn't have enough time. So basically, Friday tomorrow, I'll probably do it after work. So Friday and Saturday, I'll probably assemble all my equipment and start working out again. Oh, and then on Sunday, I have to leave for a whole week. Oh, great. Now I just told everyone, hey, I won't be home. Come rob me.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Maybe I'll wait a week before I post this one.
So you're building
it back.
Right, exactly. So you're building a bachelor pad is what you're doing.
Pretty much. My daughter comes over on occasion.
Yeah.
She's 17 now. She like mainly lives at her mom's house now. And she comes over on occasion. She'll come over. I'm like, yeah. She has a room here, but yeah, she's 17. She's like, Dad, I just want all my stuff in one place. And I'm like, you do you, honey. I love you. You just do you. So anyway,
Advice.
whole nother podcast, another story.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, speaking of cycling, look what I'm wearing. My cycling shirt.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's
I
my
like that logo.
dry fit. When I was at Tesla, we had a cycle to bike day 2015. See, it's a Tesla emblem and it's a spoke. Bike to work day.
So Elon Musk, I was never a fan of Elon Musk.
I used to sit about 15 yards. Well, let me be fair. When I sat in the bullpen area in the manufacturing floor at one time, and he had his desk out there with us, and so he sat out there, and I'm at my desk, and I look over, and I'm like, "There's Elon Musk. He's right there." I'm like, "Oh, I better keep working hard." So,
but I've learned to appreciate this guy in so many ways, and I don't think he's a guy truly, and people are probably going to trash me for this. I don't think he has the ability to lie. I just don't think it's in his DNA he doesn't know how, I think he's got, some type of, what do you call it?
Filter.
He has no filter.
It means he has no filter. I 100% agree with that. I've been in numerous conversations that I had a couple with him, and I've been witnessed in numerous meetings, being on the safety team when I was part of Tesla's. I sat in a few meetings that he was part of. I remember one day he's all, go get me a whiteboard. And I freaking bolted, went and got him my whiteboard, brand new one I just built, assembled, and brought it to him for his room. And there we go.
I mean, I saw his rocket. I think it something heavy, whatever it is, it shot up and into the space, and then go to space. And he was saying, he goes, look, this is going to be the largest rocket ever to go off, but I'm sure it's going to have issues. The chance it's a 50-50 that it even makes the space. It's got to be $1 billion rocket, and it sure enough, it goes up there, and then it goes off course, and they have to blow it up, right? And he goes, "Big, I can guarantee it's going to be a great show," is what he said.
I actually watched that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And you can't help but appreciate a guy like this, and because he has no filter, but it's almost like he's got the what's that disease where they do they're really focused on certain areas, and they're like genius in certain areas, or
autism.
I think he's got a level of autism. That's my guess with him. And he's truths are so important for him. And I really truly believe that this whole Twitter deal is for him to show the truths, because what's coming out now is what happened with Twitter was there were so many non-truths coming out. And I think it's just I don't know what it is, but it's not a fetish, but it's like he's got to show truths are so important for him. And it's just crazy to see what he's doing. It's just absolutely crazy. And I've learned to, I mean, the fact he said you worked a couple 100 feet from him or whatever, I find that how lucky you were.
I was literally about 10, maybe 15 feet from him. Actually, not yards. I think I was closer than that. Anyway, I sat in the same area where he was at. Yeah, I mean, I could call out his name and he'd look up. I mean, I didn't know. But I did talk to him a few times. I had a couple of conversations with him, and I actually had some ideas for him for his couple of the Tesla cars. And I was able to convince him. He ended up sending me over to his design team in Palo Alto. I have all the emails still, so I have proof. So nobody can try and say it didn't happen or deny it. But yeah, so I got to go to the design team. I sat at this long table, and I had like 4 guys on the other side, engineers with laptops, and I talked for probably 20, 30 minutes, and they were just, all of them were typing. And at the end, they said, okay, well, of your 7 ideas, we're already doing 3 of them, but we like your version of one of them. So they talked to me after the meeting, a one-on-one with the one guy, and he told me what he had. I told him my ideas, and he's all typing away. So they actually incorporated a couple of my ideas and thoughts into a couple of the features on the car. And then that was 3 of the ideas. 2 of the ideas, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 2 of the ideas, they said they thought about it, but they're not going to use it. But the other 2 ideas, they said, that's a whole different topic. Those are freaking awesome ideas, but that's not a direction that we're going to go. And guess what those 2 ideas were? Oh, I can't say it because these are... Yeah, you all would have to sign a non-disclosure because these are my ideas. They signed my non-disclosures. They weren't able to steal my proprietary information.
So what are those ideas today?
So right here in my head, I have them written down actually, but I'll just give a little synopsis of it. I came up with a grid coordinates for futuristic traffic.
For futuristic, so this is in the air, yeah.
Jetsons.
So it's more 3D type of grid versus 2D.
I actually, in 2012, I put together was it 12? or 11. I forgot what year. I have it all written down in notes. I put together a hovercraft. I have the entire design for it, but I just don't have the funding for it.
Dude,
Afraid to tell anyone because the moment I share it, now there's a couple of people that came up with some hovercrafts, but not my design that I have. I had a dream, true story. I actually shared it with one or two people. There's a couple of family members that know this, so they know this story is true. But I had a dream and I woke up freaking fresh in my mind. I freaking just started writing it. I still know the design in my head. I came up with this amazing design that the hovercraft, how it floats, how it moves, the material, how light it is, and what the idea I had, it could just, just like a disc just going up. And I came up with this idea. I've never seen it before, but it came to me in a dream. Like somebody was talking to me and it like the pictures, I came up with the ideas in this dream and I was putting it together in a dream. And to this day, just the whole contraption of how it worked, I've never seen anything on any sci-fi movies or anything. And I'm like, God, that actually should be one of my ideas I should be working on because that would be pretty cool.
man, it sounds like you maybe got to take a couple of these ideas and bring them to fruition.
Yep. So I'm an engineer right now, for the company I work for, but I'm helping doing product safety. So I'm kind of in the right path, if that makes
Right.
sense. But
Right.
I met a couple of guys that, potential funders to, I need a big, like right now I'm in North Carolina. I need to get like 1 or 2 acres and build a big ass barn, secured barn, and do it in there. If I can get that started on an acre or 2 of land, and then I could just practice doing my little hovercraft on my property, that would be so cool with the right funding. That's my dream.
Pretty cool dream. Maybe you should go knock on Elon Musk's door. I think what's helped this guy, and there's videos of him talking with a reporter, and this reporter comes up with an idea, and Elon's like, no, oh, we never thought of that. You know what? Let me get back to you.
I saw the
sure
same
enough,
one. I saw
yeah,
the
yeah.
same one.
Right. And then he gets back to him. He says, you know what? Yeah, it was actually, we implemented, it was like it made a huge difference. And that's a guy that doesn't have, I'm sure he's got an ego for sure. We all have egos, but to be able to say, I like your idea, is really saying is, I don't know everything, and I'm open to hear what anybody has to say in order to make this better.
Mhm.
That's a beautiful talent. And I think he has that. But you were there 2012. Did you get share options in Tesla back then? Because
2014 through 16. Yes, I did.
yeah. Okay, I won't go into any more detail on that, but
My shares are doing really good right now.
you kept them.
So my first set, I sold them, but I ended up, remember when Tesla nosedived like beginning of the year?
Uh-huh.
I did a little bit of investing.
Good for you.
I bought when they were at their lowest.
Yeah.
And now they're up I bought them at 113 or something like that. And now they're up to, where are they at? They're 196 or 200. I don't know. They're up there.
Yeah, they're moving north again.
I
but
bought I got a couple of shares, not a ton, but just a couple.
Right, exactly. So if Twitter goes public,
Oh, I'm waiting for Twitter to go. As soon as
would you buy Twitter?
Twitter's down at 51 last time or 31?
I don't think you can buy it. It's no, you can't buy it. It's private.
Correct. It's shut down right now. They closed it. Hey, those of you on Clapper for a minute, I apologize. I'll be right back. All right, so let me open it up. So Workday is at 191. So I have Workday stock, Proterra. I've got they're way down. So I'm losing there. Double Verify. I've got, yeah, that's doing well. Tesla, they went down. They're at 162. So, but Tesla was just at 407. just in the height of the pandemic, and they went down, but they went up, but they went down. They went back up to 208, and then now they're currently at 162. But you know, you don't buy stock to sell it right away. You buy it because it's an investment, and
Right.
you want it to mature. So
You buy it because you believe, like Apple Computer. You know, I bought a lot of stock in Apple Computer because I love the product. I love the product, and the product just works. You know, and for me, and you know, I like Delta Airlines right now. Right now, it's been a sucky airline for years, but now they got their shit together. You know, and so, you know, for me, it makes sense to buy into Delta Airlines because they're getting their act together. And I think Tesla makes a very good car. You know, it's a great concept. I don't know where it's going to be because now they're running up against a lot of competition, but I'll be curious to see what happens. But you just can't bet against Elon Musk. You can't bet against that guy. He's just too freaking smart.
yep, I agree.
Dude, that's a pretty cool story. You got a pretty cool story. You got to work for Elon, and you sat in the same room as him. Did you guys sleep in the same area as well? Because I heard.
So I was the safety, environmental health and safety technician while I was there. And so my role was to, you know, go around and, add value to wherever I see fit for safety. I remember one night I went there to do a night shift, a graveyard shift, to check on the graveyard shift. And I went to the production line, the end of line, and guess who comes walking out barefoot in sweatpants and a t-shirt? I looked at him like, "Hey, where's your PPE at, Elon?" He looked
Right.
he looked at me like, "Fuck off." He didn't say that, but he just went, "Oh, hold
Yeah.
on." And he went to the line. I had an idea. And he went to the line and he was tinkering with something. And I looked at his chaperone and I'm like, "Hey, he needs to have safety gear on." And he's, "Oh, that's Elon." And I'm like, "I don't care who it is. I'm gonna get in trouble. Oh, she's gonna come." Here I'm trying to do my job. It was so funny though.
Yeah, it's you safety people.
I'm probably going to get in trouble for this one. Sorry, Elon. I just threw you
Yeah.
under the bus.
I'm sure he loves a good laugh. I'm sure he loves a good laugh. But he's yeah, I'm not gonna say he's my hero, but he's pretty close to a hero for me because I just like what he's doing. It's just he's one of those guys that in a generation, 2 generations, you don't get somebody like that. You know, it's like a Einstein or somebody where it's just they're gonna make a big difference on this planet. And I think he fits in that category. You know, and
Oh, he's making a huge difference. You see the one video where he's talking about like, "Hey, if you just take 1 mile by 1 mile and put all solar panels, it can run America." And I'm like, yeah, he's pretty much right. You need, of course, a big power bank too. Power walls, Tesla power walls, giant 1 mile by 1 mile.
right, I'm sure it's a little more complicated than that. I know I was in Chile, and you got the Atacama Desert up in the north, and there must have been miles of solar panels. You know,
Oh,
just
really?
oh my God, it was I've never seen that many solar panels in my life. I mean, Chile really is. If you close your eyes and then somebody threw you in Chile, you think you're in California. You know, the roads are freeways. Oh my God, yeah, it's quite amazing. And you've got the vineyards, you've got the peaches, you got the same. You know, you're on the other side of the latitude, whatever. So you got the same climate as California, but it's 4,000 miles long.
Oh, geez.
I don't know if it's 4,000 miles or kilometers, but it's very long. It's a very long country, and you have all these different climates from the north to the south.
We just got 2 new followers. Hey, thanks for following, everyone. Appreciate you.
Dude, it's your lucky day.
Yes.
Welcome.
Well, I know it's getting late, man. It's I need to get some dinner here, but I'm enjoying chatting with you, man. This has been an amazing podcast. I think you are one of the top 2 longest running podcasts, and I think Ansel Brown, the singer-songwriter, I think we're pretty close to the same time. I think you may be edging him out.
Well, I totally apologize because I
Oh, no.
definitely
This is amazing. I love it.
I'm sure everybody's probably, like you said, people like to listen to fall asleep. So I guess maybe that works.
I have people that are popping in here saying hello on social media. Yeah, if you guys are watching this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and watch the Iron Man Mike show, and follow me on social media on Instagram and YouTube, Mike Ureta. I'll put it in the podcast. Plus, I have another Instagram, excuse me, TikTok and Clapper. I have Iron Man Mike, all one word. I'll put the links in my bio, in the description here, and I'll link Mark, you need to send me your link so I can attach it to this podcast for those to follow. And I'm probably going to put this on Facebook too. Yeah, that'll be fun. So, hey, do you have any final closing words of wisdom or anything you want to share before we end our podcast?
No, not really. It's like, definitely, thank you so much for letting me be on the show. And sometimes I talk a whole lot, and I apologize for that. But yeah, life is fun. Life's fun, and being that yes man, it's like, it's a challenge for me every day. And I think it's like, I think we all can learn a little bit, be a little more like, I want to be like Mike, right? And yeah, I think it's yeah, I've been blessed with doing some pretty cool stuff. And at 61, I think I got a few more good years in me. And yeah, I'd like to come back again and share some more, because
Oh, absolutely. Love to have you on as a future guest. Absolutely. Hey, we've been averaging 20 to 30 people at one time watching this podcast. I'll love to watch and see the tally at the end of this show, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to have quite a few. But I appreciate you so much coming on here, humbling yourself and sharing your story about conquering the tallest volcano in the world. Mark Washburn.
I don't know if conquering's the word, because that
Conquered
mountain,
it, man. Don't downplay it, man. You worked your ass off to get fit enough to even do that. Not even half of 1% of the world could probably make that.
well, thanks, Michael. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'll let you know when I come up with a new mountain. I'll definitely let you know where I'm headed next. And yeah, maybe you can join me.
Hey, here's a thought. I'm currently in North Carolina. There is the Appalachian Mountains. I haven't yet to visit it, but that'd be kind of cool. Invite you out here, be my guest. Come stay up here at the Iron Man Mike podcast. I got extra room here, you and your wife. And yeah, that'd be fun to go tackle that. By the way, Dolly World is right near us.
Oh, Dolly World. There you go. There's a place I've been wanting. That's on my bucket list.
And Dolly World, Nashville is probably a 6-hour drive from here. So there's a bunch of
You've
cool
got the
places.
Appalachian Trail. My son that you met,
Yes.
Vincent, he did part of the Appalachian Trail. And that'd be something, because you can do little segments of it. That'd be
Yes.
something, if you put that together, get a few people and crank on that
Do
trail.
sections at a time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do the whole thing on one sitting just because of life and work and stuff like that. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, you can do small sections and get it going. That's he talks about that. It's maybe not life-changing, but it certainly changed his life in some ways. It was
absolutely.
yeah, that'd be something cool to put together.
All right. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate you very much. And yeah, thank you so much for being here tonight. Appreciate you very much. Thank you so much. Go Acorns.
Go Acorns, and thank you guys for listening. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much. Don't forget to join us and tune in every Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday nights, like tonight, are the Iron Man Mike Show podcasts. And I will have an amazing special guest every Thursday. Well, not always. Sometimes you just get me, yours truly. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 to 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Come check us out. And don't forget, on Wednesday nights are the Mike and Ansel show with Ansel Brown, singer-songwriter, movie star. We started a podcast about a month ago. And every Thursday night, you can also see us Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. in the middle of it on the Mike and Ansel show. And don't forget to subscribe and follow. Love you all. And thanks again, Mark, for being here. Appreciate you very much, sir.
Thank you. Be good.
All right. Have a good night.